All right, welcome to the Sae Bae cast number 139 with Blowpipe and Hemmiez. Blowpipe and Hemmiez, how you guys both doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm pretty good. I'm a little sick, but yeah, it's been pretty cool. So thanks for
Yeah,
having us on, man.
no, it's my pleasure. It's a long time coming. There's a little bit of a history with not having you guys on like months back. But hey, the time has finally come, and I don't hate you guys anymore. Isn't that a good feeling?
Honestly, a great feeling. I don't think if you're on the other side, I feel bad for you. That sucks.
Okay, real talk though, I need to clear this up. So Hemmiez reached out to me back in like February, I want to say, of this year, and he was like, "Hey, we're doing some like event thing," and I can't even. This is so disrespectful. I can't even remember what the event was, but like,
Oh, no.
but he's like trying to throw something. I swear to God, I peeked at it, and I never looked at it again. Like I literally peeked at it, and it was like, "Oh, I got to respond to this eventually," and I just literally never did. And to be honest, like I've gotten this always sounds like I don't know how to ever say this without sounding like arrogant or anything, but it's like I get several DMs throughout the weeks of just people, just random spam or people asking to be on the cast and stuff. And so like I'll just forget to reply to people. And then it eventually got to the point where every guest I'd have on, not every guest, but a few guests I'd have on, Jimmy would go in the Twitter thread and be like, "Why do you hate Hemi?"
Oh,
But that was just such a good way to like form interactions, you know? And I was like, fuck it. We'll just send it.
No, it was good, but like I truly was like, oh, like I'll get Hemmiez on eventually, you know? And I completely spaced that Hemmiez was the person that reached out to me specifically to come on the cast about something. And so then I literally looked like probably a month and a half ago at my DMs. I was just scrolling through them and I see Hemmiez. And I see this like long like thing that was really well written and everything, like kind of like, hey, like this could be really cool to, you know, get the community aware of, you know, what's going on. And I just never responded to it. And I was like, oh, that's where that whole thing's coming from.
oh man.
Yeah, I swear to God, I'm not that much of an asshole.
No. I mean, because the thing is, I mean, I know, like, I didn't think Jimmy made that many tweets, but because I
No, it was
remember
like two
there
or
was a
three, maybe.
okay, yeah, because I remember getting a bunch of pings on Discord. And then like hearing some shit on Twitter, and I was like, oh boy, oh god, there's some shit going on.
Look, man, there's
But,
no
yeah.
fuck Sae Bae manifesto out there. Okay. That's all I'm saying.
I think one of the things it's a bit weird from an outsider's perspective, I can imagine, because if you don't know Jimmy loves to fuck around.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if people don't know him, they probably see that and they're like, what the fuck is going on? But I remember seeing fucking Mr. Mammal died, and he lost the fifth life, and within like 5 minutes, Jimmy had like a Wendy's Mammal 5-for-1 deal posted on his Twitter.
It's the Wendy's 4 for 4, I think. And I mean, Judo made that, but he was like, you should post this. And I was like, absolutely. I had no problem doing that. That was so funny.
I saw that instantly. Like, not even there's probably not even the hardcore Iron Man death tweet out yet, and you already had that shit out. I was like, bro, is this come on, man? You gotta give him like.
No, I can definitely like gauge whether somebody's a shit poster like naturally, and yeah. So I've been to both of your guys' stream. I've been to Jimmy's stream. He's always just fucking around having a good time. So I understand. It's all in good fun generally.
Oh, yeah.
So let's get a little bit of like an introduction going for those that don't know who you guys are. You're both content creators. Jimmy, you seem to be on like the kind of like the part-time. I guess both of you. I don't know. Like, do you guys consider yourself both full-time content creators or what? Let's hear it.
You want to go first or?
Sure, yeah. So I would say, I mean, I think I definitely consider myself a part-time streamer, or I guess part-time content creator. So I think like last summer was really when I was kind of like, I was in between jobs and I had a lot of time, so like I was going live pretty frequently. So I think for maybe a small stretch of period, I would consider myself like a full-time Twitch streamer, but by no means was I like dedicating the day-to-day to that, like moving forward. So I think I mean, I would classify myself as like a part-time content creator for sure.
Cool, cool. And what do you do on stream?
Oh man. Usually on stream I'm just absolutely fucking mauling. But I think like most of my streams, like I want to probably say like 90% are Inferno speedrun streams. Granted, I try not to play on DGen hours anymore, and I mean, my health is thanking me for that for like the last 9 months. But when I was streaming like full time, I would go live at like 11 p.m. and end at like 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. or something. And that's like when the worlds are pretty crisp. And Inferno speedrunners are like some of the worst complainers that there are about like servers and worlds. But it really does matter, you know, when you're just trying to sort of edge forward in the rankings or get a better time. But I like I guess on the other hand, I mean I do like some hardcore stuff. I sometimes stream my hardcore. I'm kind of getting into the YouTube scene and trying to make a little series out of this hardcore before before it dies. But that's about it. And everything in between, I mean, I try to like help out with like VOD reviews and help in the speedrunning Discord to try to help promote that as well.
Nice, nice. What about you, Hemmiez?
First off, I can preach, dude. If you haven't seen Jimmy's YouTube video on his first hardcore, bro, the production on that shit for first episode hardcore Iron Man thing, like I don't know. I think that's definitely something the boys gotta check out if they're interested in any sort of speedrunning. But I, so the question was, what part time, full time? There was a brief, well, I'd say it's a weird question for me because I never really put in the hours I should have been putting in due to some reasons with motivation. But I guess you could say I was full time for a pretty big period last year where I had some sponsorships, and I'd say if anyone's out there looking to become a creator, it's like at the very well, I know it's the case for both YouTube and Twitch, but sponsorships are big. You've got to be looking to set out a good brand for yourself so that you can, you're not a brand risk and don't have to deal with that because the sponsorships for a lot of creators are that's where the money is. You can't if someone's just looking to get into streaming or something for the money, it's like you can count on you could probably count on one hand how many streamers have more than like 1,200 subs on Twitch for old school RuneScape, right? And even if you look at the whole just the just the number of Twitch streamers that have more than 1,000 subs, period, on Twitch, right? It's like compared to the yeah, if you just sort it out by partners as well, it's like it's pretty it's a pretty sharp drop off. So it's like for a bit it was only doable because it had sponsors, but then over time like especially now because so I had some, well, what I normally do is I do a little bit of PVM. I just kind of do a bunch of general stuff, whatever's on the mind, but the real highlights of my content, I would say, are when I run tournaments. I usually run big tournaments or big events, and because the day-to-day stuff is all fine, but it doesn't get my blood pumping, it doesn't ignite any passion in me to just do TOB for for like, I don't know, the 1,000 KC or something on stream, because it's cool to talk to people, but I'd much rather leave a mark. And when I run, so I've always hosted big unique events, like if you've ever heard of High Risk TOB, and then the spin-offs of High Risk Chambers, High Risk ToA, Prop Hunt ToA. We've done big like couple bill giveaways with like hide and seeks and stuff. Tis Hard World Series. We run these big events where I can really pride myself in thinking that, hey, someone who's watching this is going to remember this 4 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and is going to look at me and say like, holy shit, like this guy really made something unique. And I think I've really done that with some of my first tournaments, which I was really happy about. So when I can do those types of things, that's where the passion comes in. And because of that, though, like those are very stressful to run with like so few people. So I managed to run three really big notable ones during my time, and since then I've been looking to make more official experience with that. So that's kind of why I've like dialed off from doing the full-time thing now. But I'd say now it's like, yeah, now definitely part-time. I mean, people, a lot of my supporters probably would have said like, yeah, what's this motherfucker talking about? Like this kid was part-time even back then. But now is most definitely part-time because I probably go live like once every week to 2.5 weeks. Lately, after I ran a bunch of my tournaments, people these days know me a lot more for my Inferno stuff than what I used to do. But I used to do a bunch of speedrunning. We used to do even some PvP, but like speedrun ToB, Chambers, whatever it is, ToA. Now, near the end, it mostly became Inferno, and with Inferno, you can send X tasks, and then you have to go get another task. So there'd be periods where you'd just be doing Turael skipping for like hours on stream, and that is, well, obviously that's pretty shit content, right? So sitting here and streaming to, I don't know, maybe like 80, 100 viewers or something, and all you're doing is just killing dogs, and it's like, I can find something interesting. We can make some jokes and talk about stuff for like 30 minutes, but if you go dry for like 2 hours, right? It's excruciating to sit there and know that like, these guys want to support me, and I'm almost wasting their time because I can't provide them with anything. I mean, I can be entertaining, but to what degree, right? They're sitting here watching me kill cave slimes for 2 hours. It's like, so it genuinely it emotionally hurts to know that like these people like support me, and I'm wasting their time by like not doing anything entertaining, right? So like that's one of those feelings that I think is it's kind of hard to convey when
Yeah,
people
I think part of it is just like oversensitivity, and I have it too, where I try to almost imagine what my viewers are thinking, even though it's never that deep. I just make it deeper than it is. Like for the most like if I jump into a stream and somebody's literally like doing a Slayer task, I don't really give a fuck, to be honest. I'm just like there to pop in, just see what they're talking about, see what's going on. And it really doesn't matter. But for you probably, I think a lot of it is just like, honestly, just innocent projection on your part. It's like it really is not that deep, and I do the same thing where it's like I think exactly like this is what my viewers are thinking right now. This has to be it because this is what I'm thinking. So, but I don't think it's ever that deep. I think it's really just, yeah, people can watch whatever they want, and if they're in your stream, they're in your stream for a reason. They have the freedom to watch whatever they want. So
yeah, it's I've heard that so much too, because I've had a talk with like a lot of my viewers always asked me before. It was like, oh, like why do you go live so infrequently? Like even when I had even when I was doing it full time, I was still admittedly only going live like every other day tops, except for like 1 month where I went live every month or every day. But it was like, why, like, why don't you go live enough? And it's like, well, if I don't have, I'd tell them the exact same thing. I was like, if I don't have content that I think is, up to standard, it feels it feels like shit going live for you guys, because then I feel like I'm wasting your time, right? And then they'd be like, dude, like we're not watching for the content. I mean, like the content is good, but and if it's content that you consider up to par, then like obviously that can only be better. But they'd always say like, dude, like it doesn't matter, like we're here for you. And it's just like mentally that's such a hard thing to like get over too. And I've talked to like other creators about it too. Like Dex is also, so like iDex,
Yep.
or I call him LDex, but like notoriously phenomenal PVMer out in the game, learns so quickly, has like 10-13 level clicks, and he had the exact same problem where he's just like, dude, like I physically cannot, like if I'm doing speed running or something, like sometimes he doesn't, like he won't do certain speed runs because if it's just too much wiping and too much resetting, like he'll learn it off stream and then before he does any of it on stream first, because he thinks that wiping a lot nonstop is bad content, right? And then he feels like he's ruining it. And we had a nice talk about that too. But I was like, yeah, man, like I feel the exact same way.
Everyone goes through it. So let me ask you guys about Turael Skipping in particular. That seems to be something that has never been fully addressed and nothing's really been done about it in regards to Inferno enthusiasts trying to get their tasks. So do you guys have any suggestions on what they could do in regard, like what are your guys' personal opinions on what they could do to make Turael Skipping less of a headache and get you back into the Inferno quicker? I'll start with you, Jimmy.
Oh man, that's a loaded question. So I started streaming primarily in 2021. I'd done like a few errant streams like here and there, but I started streaming in 2021 when we only had like, I think it was like a single task. So I think probably half my total Turael skipping has been with just getting a single task. And that was brutal because, you know, you mess up in a high level piece of content, right? And with one task, you're punished and you've got to skip for another one. And I think there's an inherent, it's like, it's a weird discrepancy, right? So like in solo chambers, right? If you mess up a CM, you just reset, right? Your team messes up a top, you just reset a top. And now, right, with ToA, you can do the same exact thing. So in all other like high pieces of content, right, or high level pieces of content, you have this reset ability, and there's no real punishment, right, except your time. But the big pro is that you're able to just get right back into that piece of content. So I think that's why like Turael skipping is such a big turnoff for a lot of people. It's not even like the fact that there's no real reward from Inferno, right? Because all you get is some Tokel, which might one day get you some uncut onyxes, right? But outside of that, I mean, there really is no reward. So why would anyone who wants to play the game maybe to make money, right? Why would they ever do Inferno? So I think there's a huge problem with Turael skipping right now, where too many people are really wasting the time, you know, killing bears and banshees. Like on my hardcore, for example, I've killed so many banshees on my main that now I just absolutely refuse to kill another banshee that I don't have to. So on my hardcore, I have banshees blocked instead of like an actual Turiel monster that, you know, or like an actual Slayer monster that maybe isn't that bad, but I just can't stand that run. But I think, I mean, there are some obvious ways that they could just prevent that. So you could still keep your Grandmaster rewards, right? Which would still be amazing. But if you've already got like, you know, maybe a 1 KC barrier, or maybe not 1 KC barrier, but a 5 KC barrier. If you have 5 KC, then you're more than, like, you can just basically enter in the caves on Slayer mode with zero chance at pet, right? Zero chance at Slayer XP, but you get the effects. So that would, I mean, quite literally just get rid of pretty much the whole problem. I don't think anyone likes tutorial skip anyways. And if you do, you're probably just Shawnee. So, um, I don't know. I mean, that's where my head's at. I feel like it's a really easy fix, but I think, you know, change is always a slow thing, and I guess especially in gaming, and especially in this game where things are sort of set in stone. But hopefully hopefully Jag can take a look at it and try to help. I guess try to help alleviate that problem. But I wanted to go back real quick to what Hemmiez was speaking of before and
Yeah.
what you were talking about. So I think like one thing that I have noticed that is so true that no one really tells you when you start streaming is if you feel like you need to do X amount in order to meet some like criteria, right? So whether it's like, oh, I need to stream 4 times this week in order to meet some sort of threshold that I'm setting for myself. I think it's important to be realistic, right? So like the way I think about it is like feasibility, and you have to figure out is streaming going to be profitable for me to sustain it if my intention is to be a full-time content creator. Because the truth is, especially in this game, that's just not going to be the case. And there's nothing wrong with it like not being like it just not working out, but I think if you're real about it in the beginning, then you're gonna there's like I don't know, you're like setting yourself up for less disappointment. And I feel like being real and being honest with yourself is incredibly important, and maybe not a lot of people do that before they start. So a lot of people burn out like myself. I found myself like trying to look at my Twitch stats and notice like when people would like pop into my channel, and then I would refuse to go live like unless I knew people would be in my channel, right? And I think I let that happen once or twice, and I was like, this is ass. This is just not fun for me, and it's not gonna be fun for anybody else, right? I'm sure you can immediately tell when the streamer is actually not having a good time, right? And that's not going to make anyone want to stick around. So I think streaming is one of those things where you have to be real, and you have to be honest with yourself if it's actually going to work out or not. But that's it. But yeah, Turael Skipping sucks. So
Yeah, one of the no, you're right on the whole content creation side. I think like just setting your expectations and just realizing like there's a lot of people going for, trying to be a full-time content creator, and there's just not enough of like an audience to make that happen, make that dream happen. But in regards to Turael skipping, I thought this is my own opinion. This is someone who does not run Inferno speeds. So first of all, I actually think your suggestion of just letting you run a task that feels like it's like have all the bonuses but not get any Slayer XP is completely fine. One of my other suggestions, because I know Jagex proposed a couple years back like Boss Slayer, which was extremely busted and would just make you feel like you're trolling if you're not doing anything and everything on task. So
right.
I was just thinking what would be cool is maybe just have a point unlock that's high, like, I don't know, 1,000 or 2,000 points. That's just double boss tasks or double even just like the Tazar task. Like just have like a thing where all of a sudden your Turael time is cut in half just instantaneously with just one thing. So I don't know. I just feel like something as simple as that would really just tone down the just obnoxiousness of running Turael all day just to get a couple tasks. Like seriously, just slashing that time in half, I think would just be phenomenal.
I mean, so going back to, our first conversation, right? I don't remember the name of the task, right? But it gets you like that storage, right? So you get a store task.
Yeah.
So I would literally like, oh man, I would wake up in the morning, and my morning at that time was like 2 p.m. I'd wake up and I would get 2 Zuck tasks, and then I'd be like, okay, now I'm locked and loaded for stream. But like, I feel like I shouldn't have to do that. So I think any step in that direction would be positive and would definitely build on more momentum. Because the thing is, like the Inferno speedrunning community is truly small. So when you think about all the people that like, let's say there are 100 people, right? And that's the entire population of everybody that plays this game. Maybe 1 or 2 of them actually speedrun Inferno, right? And then maybe of those 1 or 2, maybe only one of them's actually trying to like, not actually good. That's not what I mean. Well, okay, I guess that's what I mean. But like they're actually good enough to like compete for a top spot, right?
Yeah,
Like a
yeah.
top 10 spot. And then it's like, why would Jagex ever fix that? But maybe it's like something as simple as just like setting a right click, on the I guess on the entrance into Inferno to kind of maybe help solve that. But I mean, even your thing is like, I have no problem if I need to like boost 2,000 points. My biggest thing is I hate that I have to like get 50 points to store it, right? So I don't want to have to like have extra points in order to, I guess, get the sick Zuck test, so to speak.
Yeah.
But I mean, hey, that'd be kind of nuts though with the task storage. You could just have 12. I'd be lined up for like 2 months, considering I don't go live anymore.
Yeah, so
But
so I've actually never used the task storage. I unlocked it, but I haven't used it. That's just you can only hold one, correct?
well, so you can hold one task. So if you have grandmasters, right, that's just going to be a set of tasks. So you can have like 6 total,
Yeah,
which is really
6.
nice.
So
But
what if they were to
yeah,
make it so you could actually hold more than just one task? What if you could hold up to like 3 or something? So you actually could have just 12 Zucks locked and loaded.
I think if you don't need points for that, I would say I'm probably all for it. Because like I think the worst part is like, not only do you want me to Turael skip, you want me to boost, and it's like, oh my god, I'm just crying inside, you know.
Yeah,
But
that's a little annoying. Yeah, that is
but
kind of silly actually that it costs to hold a task.
yeah, I'm like I spent 1,000 points for this. Like, come on, man.
Crazy
Yeah.
too, because that's literally like you would think that's a really fucking bad flaw. Like I don't know who thought of that. Like even when they first came out with it, like I remember thinking and looking at it, and I was like, well, "You want me to pay 1,000 points, right? Like this is 1,000 fucking Slayer points. I'm already 99 Slayer. That's a lot of points. And then you want me to pay 50 perpetually every time I want to store it again?" I was like, okay, so
Yeah.
that's to me, that was a fucking terrible idea right off the start, right? But then that's not even the worst. Well, it is the worst part, but here's
No,
another
it's
shit
not.
part, which is crazy because it's just a fucking task storage. How many shit parts could there be? But like, it doesn't swap out your task, is the thing, right? So it's like you have to have no task in order to actually, in order to claim your task. You can't just swap them out. You have to physically complete your task before you can take it out. So a lot of times it's like, okay, well, uh let's say I wipe and I want to go pick up another task, right? I'm going to go to Steve, and then normally I would like to check if I get the back to back, right? Because maybe I get the back to back. Oh, but I can't, because if I get a task from Steve, I can't take my other task out. So I have to fucking sit here,
You basically have to
and
use
then
it, yeah,
yeah, you have
or
to
gamble with like more turtle skipping.
yeah, it's like chance it or not, and it's
Uh
why don't you just
But I
make
do
it a
I do want to say
swap?
for anybody that is like brand new to Inferno or trying to or like considering speedrunning, I would say, and Hemi's, I mean, you can, I mean, just let me know if you think I'm just bullshitting, but I think it's pre-major, it's pretty much the same DPS off task as it is on task. So if you want to get good at Inferno and you have the money for it, or you've done a lot of ToA, I would 100% consider that as an option. Just going in off task and kind of messing around and trying to get the concepts down, because getting the concepts down will not require you to have a task. And at the end of the day, that's how you'll get faster.
yeah. And
No.
there are people that compete for I mean it's definitely not as fun or as competitive, I don't think, but there are people that compete for the off task world record as well.
Hmm.
In Inferno, which yeah, just seems
Hey,
awful.
I ain't gonna lie, that sounds awful.
It
And
does, it does.
we
Anything
would
that's
have to we would have to revoke their Inferno speedrunning membership if we find out who did
It's-
that.
yeah.
that Scotty is fucking insane for running that, because I mean, Jimmy said it's not that bad of a loss before Mage, but to me that's cap. That is kind of bullshit, and I'm not gonna lie, like,
Well,
because
I think the better you, or I don't want to say the better you are, but the more time you spend in Inferno, absolutely, it's like not going
oh
to
yeah,
be the same experience. But I mean, if you're just a shitter, and I'm saying that in the best
yeah,
way possible because I
I'm
definitely
a
was at
shitter.
some point.
Yeah.
Exactly. Sae Bae, if you wanted to, bro, you could just send it off task and just try to get better and get the mechanics
Yeah.
down. Um, but I mean, I think don't get me wrong, I'd never send an off task in my entire life now. But if I was just starting, I think that was like some of the best advice I got, especially with only one task. That hey, like if you want to maximize your tasks, just spend a little time to try to get down a few concepts and a few basic solves. So you when you do have a task, you're prepared, you're ready to go, and it's not going to be an issue.
So this is one thing I've heard from a few people kind of asking, and I'm curious myself because I've never gotten into it. Is Inferno speedrunning as addictive as you Inferno speedrunners make it out to be? Like, is it actually that amazing?
I mean, yeah. Look, so yes, 100%. and I think I think there's kind of a saying, but I don't really remember the saying, so I'll just go with like an idea. Basically, you progress through chambers, right, as like a PVMer, whether you're on an iron or whether you're on a main. And then eventually what happens is you decide to do chambers, you love chambers, and then you do Inferno, and then it's over for you because then you're like, well, I don't want to do anything other than Inferno. So I think it really is addicting in the sense that um, it's a high skill, it's a very high skill event, and especially now where we've seen like an evolution from a six brute ancient setup with Ring of the Gods, right, to bringing in melee weapons, to now bringing in thalls with spellbook swap. Now not even having spellbook swap to kind of heal in the late
Yeah.
wave. So it really is like it is masterful to complete an Inferno without those I'm not gonna say crutches, but those really nice perks
Quality of
of
life.
being on ancients and things like that. Yeah, quality of life. So I think it's very addicting because I mean, oh man, when you play well and you fucking know it, it feels fantastic. And I'm not saying like it's a high, but I definitely know when I play good and I know when I play bad, and it's frustrating when I play like shit, and it feels great when I play well. Um, so I guess you could say, yeah, it sounds like addiction to me.
What about
Yeah,
you,
and
Hemmiez?
that's you touched on some really good points there. So, I mean, I think I've been kind of an odd one out when it comes to Inferno speedrunning because, like, there's definitely a lot of people who have the super addicting experience of like, so like Seabet's a great example. I'm sure we're gonna talk about him a few times during this, but like Seabet, the oftentimes I'll literally hear him say like, "There's nothing else fun in the game anymore for me. Like, I only do Inferno speedrunning because it's the only fun thing in the game." And I was like,
Damn.
I never, yeah, I was like, that's hold on, you know, like that. I wouldn't go that far, right? Like because for me, Inferno speedrunning kind of like it was nice. It started because I saw Addy's video called "I Locked Myself in the Inferno for like 30 days," and it was a compilation of like some of his best solves at the time, and like it blew my mind. I was like, holy shit, like that'd be cool if I could do it, right? So, you know, I tried my hand at it. I could do a little bit of it, but when I got good, I was like, okay, like, you know, yeah, nice, I can do that now. But I never thought of it as like this is the only fun content in the game for me, or like, yeah, I was not as addicted as a lot of people. But the thing is, that phenomenon is real, you know. Like, I mean, we were talking about IDEX earlier. He literally just started recently and he's hooked. Like, even though he mauls 24/7, I've never seen this guy actually get angry at this game.
Yeah.
And then like every
Uh,
time I pop into his stream now, he'll be on wave 6. He's like banging his table. He's like, "What the fuck?" I was like, "Oh, I never see you mad. You're mad on wave 6?" He's like, or like he's like, "I haven't PB'd in 4 days." I was like, "Bro, you better join the club, man, because I haven't PB'd in 4 months. What are you talking about? Like, this kid is crazy." But like, there's tons of people who really are getting super addicted. Like, I'm even seeing like I Psalm the Bonbon. Like, I mean, I don't know if you guys have seen one of her original Inferno clips, but it's a pretty crazy clip where she tanks like 30 hits.
Yeah, I
Even
always remember
she,
that.
dude, yeah, that's one wild fucking clip. And she came up to me and she's like, "Yeah, like I want to try learning for like the Grandmaster time now." And she's like having the time of her life doing it. She's like sending me clips of stuff. And I was like, "Oh my god, like, you know, people are trying it, and people that I didn't expect would really enjoy it, and you know, they're all doing Turiel too. They have to fucking do all this Turiel as a trade-off. Like, for me, it's a whole lot of wiping, a whole lot of practice, and tough times and shit not going the way. You know, it's a steep learning curve, and these people are like trying it, and they're like, "Fuck it, I love this." You know, like I'm super addicted. This is like all I'm sending right now. I was like, wow, you know, like I didn't get that experience, but I am pleasantly surprised to see that people are considering it to be that fun and that addictive. But in my perspective, I mean, I say I don't, you know, I wasn't addicted to it, and I wasn't, but most of why I potted was just because, God, I just said potted unironically, but yeah, wow.
As long as you don't
yeah,
say
that's
it in
crazy.
an actual real life setting, then you're good.
Yeah,
This is
yeah,
still a
yeah. I'm
RuneScape
praying to God,
context.
dude. I'm
Yeah.
praying to God. But
People are gonna think you're a pothead, just like totally like
yeah,
a
yeah.
fucking potting going to the grocery store.
Yeah, this guy
Honestly,
said
that's
he's fucking
better.
sick. I doubt it, you know.
That's fucking. If they think I'm a pothead, that's better than fucking thinking I'm just playing RuneScape so much that I unironically said potted, dude. But
You guys have never slipped out like a Twitch emote in real life, have you?
oh, I've
Oh,
there
100%.
was
Have
there was
you?
a
Do you have
period
do you have an
where
actual
I
example
had,
of it?
bro.
I'm
Yeah,
curious.
okay. So I fucking said pog like an absolute moron. And like the sad part was I wasn't even fucking thinking about it. Like I didn't even like catch myself until like a literal 2 seconds after, and I was like,
Ugh.
what the fuck did I just do? And my friend was like, "Oh, what does that mean?" And I was like, I'm gonna
Yeah.
just say I misspoke. That's really just
Yeah, it was
Oh my god.
it's not
yeah, I was like,
good.
Just
oh
deny
gosh.
you ever said it. Like I didn't say that. What?
Yeah, if you're listening to this, Brandon, just fuck off, you know? Like you didn't hear anything.
That's funny.
But if well, we were talking about oh yeah, yeah. In terms of the addiction thing, that I mostly continued with it just because there would be like a new time threshold, and I would look at it and I'd just be like, I can do that, and then I wouldn't stop until I did it. But it wasn't out of like, oh my god, this is the most fun thing in the game for me. It was mostly just like, oh well, I know I can do this, and I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, in that case, it was. But you know, if other people are having like better experiences with enjoyment for it, like I can only be happy for that, right? Like, you know, if they're enjoying the game, so that's what the game's for, right? So
Yep. It's easy to forget as well that the game is supposed to be fun.
oh yeah,
So
like
what this is going to be a question. I think this is also like vaguely asked on the Twitter thread, but I want to ask you guys, who is the greatest Inferno speedrunner currently?
Ooh.
Ooh. I
You want to
mean,
go or
fuck. I've got some thoughts.
Okay.
So I think overall right now, I think it really is undeniable to kind of dispute Rasta. I mean, really, no one's simply getting a faster time. Now, are there reasons for that? Of course, but I think you have to give credit where credit's due. And as much as at least I mean him, and I think other people do, he does have the best time, right? He does have the world record right now, and I think when it comes to people who are in form, he's absolutely in form. But I think if you're given one task, I think there are at least 5 people right now that could compete for that top spot or that fastest spot. And I think Hemmiez, you might agree with me as well. But I mean, one of the goats, in my opinion, is probably Jolene, and I think he really set a real standard for like the last 2 years of speedrunning for Inferno. Um, like, I mean, I can't even think of anybody else.
mm-hmm. And to add to that, like, there's so many ways to sort of approach the question. So, because so the way I see it in my head, Jolanine. So Rasta feels like the guy who's just grinded it out through sheer hard work. You know, just I'm gonna keep doing it, right? Because in terms of like innate talent, like don't get me wrong, he's phenomenal PVMer. He's incredibly consistent and has great clicks. But like at the start, so like even it's very easy to see his level of improvement actually. So if for people who are particularly experienced at like speedrunning Inferno, I know for the regular viewer it's very hard to see, but like even when he had rec 6 months ago compared to like when he had rec now,
Mm-hmm.
completely different ball game. Like because at the
Absolutely.
start he was like he was grinding it harder than other people, and I think a lot of people have probably talked about that, but like some people would always tell him, like you have this because you're sending more. And I mean, he even understood that was true, because sometimes he had like 6 months ago I could watch him and I could be like, oh yeah, but like this solve isn't really, it's not optimal by any means, but he's just so consistent that he can make up for it. And he's really enjoying it, so he's sending a lot of tasks. It's natural that he'd get the wreck, but his solves weren't like super on point at that. And then over the course of the months, like right now, I mean, I don't want to fucking sound weird ego, but like I think I have some of the best like analytical solves in the Inferno speedrunning community. And now I look at Rasta's solves and I'm like, yeah, like he's doing very, very close to perfect for a large like most waves. I mean, we're gonna bar like misclicks and because like that's not an intentional fuck up, right? That's just like it kind of fucking happened, and he can adapt to that like extremely well, which is so it's like the level of which he's. I think a lot of people just see like, oh, he's had the wreck for like I don't even know how long, probably like 6 months, 8 months, a year, whatever it is. But I don't think as many people are aware of the fact that he's always been improving. And if you were to ask that question like 6 months ago, I think Neen would pretty much be unanimous, because like I don't think people would really be exposed to how Neen plays. But if I'm going to compare them, like Rasta's developed his solving through just hard work and tenacity of running like I don't know. I don't even want to count how many runs, right? A shit ton of runs. So he's just gotten better through that. But Neen has that like innate talent to just understand and play so clean, is one way to describe it. Like if he makes a mistake, it's corrected. If it's like everything is mechanical. He doesn't have these crazy clicks so that he can do like. So I've seen Rasta do like a fucking 6-way scythe plus claw the other day. I was like, okay, look, this is something literally only Rastaman can do and save time with, because it was fucking. I was like, what the fuck, dude? Like that's crazy.
Yeah,
I was like, oh my god,
the precision is fucking crazy.
Yeah. And to still play at such a high level, because like I think there's some people who can handle that level of switching. I don't think they're gonna be able to save time with it though, because the precision, the consistency, and that absolute, the ability to maintain your mental composure and maintain your solves when you have less time, basically, because when you're doing 7-way switches into clawing, right? It's like you don't have as much time to think. You're sitting there staring at your inventory because you got to do the switches. Then you got to manage your prayer better because you're down like 3 extra sand views. So you have to flick like an absolute motherfucker for the whole run, right? He's the only one that I think can actually run that 7-way switch or whatever the hell it is and save time with it. But so he's got those crazy.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate here. So, one, I will say, I think he's like probably one of the fastest learners that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Do you remember when like the tail end of when AddyCon like took a break and decided to go back into Inferno? I think that's when I first started noticing that Rasta was like in Addy streams. So I think at that point everybody was watching Addy, whether it was to flame him or whether it was to like actually try to learn something. But I think so. Like I said, you can't discredit the effort that he's put in. I mean, yeah, it's obviously it's frustrating, right? Like if you're like me and you live in the middle of fucking nowhere and your internet's shit unless it's at night, it's frustrating to see like, oh, this guy can just send all day, like fuck, maybe I should fucking move, into his fucking mansion with him.
Moving to
But
Inferno.
yeah, but then and then you're like, what the fuck did I just say? Like I'm not fucking moving for this shitty ass game. But those are
it's true,
those are like
though,
real, but like those are real thoughts that you have, and you're like, okay, that's a really dumb thought. Like I'm just never gonna think like that again. But I would say, although he has some of the best, I think he has the best clicks out of Inferno streamers. I don't think he has. I can't say that he has the best out of
Of
everyone
runners.
that's running right now. Because when I'm thinking of people who I see that click so well, one, I mean, even you, Hemmiez, I think you click excellent. But like people that come to mind are like Cancer, who used to have rec, Croft, who doesn't run anymore, unfortunately, and like Meezy and MCU, like all those guys, in my opinion, they compete with Ross in terms of clicks. But I'd have to agree in terms of streamers, I don't think there's anyone better. Sorry, Seabet.
That's the fucking main one. To add to that, I will say, yeah, there's probably some degree. So the name I had in mind was MCU. I know MCU has some fucking disgusting
He's
clicks, but
nasty. Yeah.
yeah, Cancer, I just don't see him. I just don't see him run, which is why, because he used to not
Yeah.
stream very much, so I haven't seen his clicks too much, but that's very possible. Croft I just didn't mention because Croft just he's on like his
He's just
Sigma grind set
MIA.
shit,
Yeah.
bro. He's like fucking millionaire
Yeah.
at the age of
Yeah,
19.
actually a millionaire. Actually has more wealth than me. You know, it's just
Yeah, so
insane.
it's like, that's fair
But
enough. But
yeah, I mean, I think, like I said, I mean, you can't discount. Like Ross had what CM Rec before he started potting Inferno. I think he was pretty well. May have just been like CMs and regulars, but I only knew like him as like as like a Chambers prod, right? But it's cool to see him like to go into what I think is one of the hardest places to get good at in the game. And I think what is rewarding for like any viewer that's considering or anyone that's listening to consider is if you get good at Inferno, it translates pretty much everywhere else in the game, except maybe like, well, depending on what skilling method you like, it may translate there too. But that's like a really
It
real
would,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah, like you get good at Inferno, like yeah, you may have no idea what's going on in like Max F top, but because you click well, like your nihilers are better, right? Just automatically. Then you start to learn the waves, start to gain more knowledge, and it becomes a lot easier. But yeah, I guess
I'm
it's a good
I mean,
place.
I get the point, but I'm just gonna say Stooge, dude. Like, fucking
Yeah.
bullshit.
If
Bullshit.
Steve
That
used
punk tanking clip.
anti drag, I think he would probably be like top 5 player of all time.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh
not
my
even
god.
kidding.
Sae Bae, are you? Should I call you Sae Bae or
Yeah, you can
Sae
call
Bae?
me Sae Bae. Doesn't matter.
Okay. Are you able to like keep a streamable in the description? Like you should
If you want to
see.
link it right now, I can actually just pull it up for the YouTube
Oh
audience.
yeah,
I'll just mute
dude.
it.
Like you better believe
Yeah,
I've
you
got
should
this.
probably mute
Wow.
anything that comes
No,
out of his mouth.
I won't.
Yeah.
No. I'll send him the pog tanking clip because the pog tanking clip was
Oh, that one is
saying
so
some
good.
crazy shit. But
Yeah.
Yeah,
there's
I'll show it for the YouTube viewers.
yeah,
Sorry for all those Spotify listeners.
yeah. You might have to up the volume on that. He's I think it's pog tanking time.
Wait, so what's happening here?
They're doing I think hard mode or something, and Stooge is tanking, and he instantly goes like, I think it's pug tanking time. He instantly runs into a purple and gets meleeed.
Oh, I see. So
Dies.
he's not the one that's in. Oh, I see. He's the one that got hit by the purple and then died to a melee.
And he does something like that without fail every hour on the hour. It's like
so funny, dude. What's funny is like this just kind of reminded me of Adwam, where he was. I mean, he's still totally amazing at Inferno, but I remember he was first stepping into Tob, and I remember him even saying like that 7-tick Verzig cycle threw him off so fucking bad.
Yeah.
So, you can get really, really good at something. That doesn't automatically mean you're going to be amazing initially at every other piece of content. You got to work for it. You got to work for it.
Oh yeah, 100%. It'll give you some base fundamentals, but you're not going to be phenomenal at a lot of these more complex PVM situations or anything really. You got to know the rules. You can't just go in and not have it. Like,
Yeah,
I think like PKing too, another example. Like is you'll have the clicks, but like if you don't have some of that muscle memory to like one tick barrage or something, it's be cursed.
Okay, so just to finalize this topic, 9900 or Afzal fan asks, who's better, Neen or Rasta? Be honest, guys. No sugarcoating.
Ooh,
You can only say one name. You can only say one name.
with a gun to my head. Oh fuck. I mean, I gotta go Neen. I'm just an old school guy. I fucking
Yeah.
hate the transition from ancients to thralls, and when you think about that era where people really started gaining interest, and I mean, for example, like Addy Khan started gaining interest when he was a sub 65 shitter, right? Um, I think what really galvanized and inspired him to get better was watching runs of people like Jolanine. But I think if you ask me that question in a year from now, I think my answer might change. But I think right now it's still got to be Neen.
What about you,
Um,
Hemmiez?
on my end, I mean, I know we were supposed to finalize it, but damn, fuck, it's it's a hard one, because the thing is, Neen, if we want to talk figuratively speaking, like Neen is the GOAT. He has the legacy. He's literally he's just dominated across such an expansive period of time that it's like his legacy is better, and he's also personally, I think he has more innate talent for it because of that. Like I think I've never had a problem with like Neen. Sometimes like when I was starting out, Neen was just like fucking teaching me shit by watching his runs. He's fucking hella clean, right? So I think he's got the he's got that knowledge down, and I think, and he also Jimmy, you might know because I'm not 100% sure on this, but didn't he have the because the thing with Neen is he doesn't send a lot. Like he'll fucking send for like 1 month,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
disappear off the face of the planet for like six to like 18 months. So, but I think when he was running for the Speedrun Cup or something, he had like a 38-30 entry. Was that, I don't know if that was rec or not, right?
Oh,
But
I
like
mean, it's. Hold on, I'm gonna put
it
put
was
a picture in here.
something absolutely fucking like he came back for a month and got like one of the fastest times that I think the fastest time that we've ever seen into Zuck. He
Yeah.
didn't get to live on it, so that's why it wasn't wreck, but it's like that makes it super hard because it's like if he can come back at any time, like we don't know what would happen if he I have absolutely no clue what would happen if he just fucking grinded for
I
well,
think yeah. I mean, I totally agree with you. Like that picture I put in the chat
oh yeah, I gotta
is like basically like the caption was Addy Khan after sending 500 runs, and then it was like Joe Lanine
oh
potting
yeah.
2 runs and getting wrecked, and it was just a picture of that monkey looking out in space, just like yeah, this is just light work for me. But I
Addy
mean
going
that
through
kind of
existential
epitomizes
crisis.
like is how Inferno is for him. I mean, he really doesn't have to think; it's just very automatic for him. In terms of like just dominating. Um, and like, but like you said, I mean, today if you take the best runner, I mean, I think it has to be Rasta, especially in terms of people who stream. And it is hard to gauge people who don't stream, right? I mean, I could see your splits, but if you're three-shotting every major, I'm just never gonna know if you're
Yeah,
actually
literally.
good or is it your weapons or what it is. But um, I still think like right now in terms of form, I think it's undoubtedly Rasta. But if it was one run and like Jolene decided to pot, I mean, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I put my money on Jolene.
Okay,
Um
that's fair.
yeah. Yeah, we can divide it up like that. So like it short term right now, we give it to Rasa, and I think if we want to talk like in form or like with specific circumstances like one run or like X amount of practice runs, etc., or like this much time to like equalize getting back into form, I think we give it to Neen there. It's just a shame because he's not obviously he doesn't stream, so it's a lot harder to see his runs. It's a lot harder to like you gotta he's not as public about it, so
Yeah.
but it
Okay,
is
so
what it is.
there definitely are people listening that are probably going to be curious what even are these times. So I just want to say, just for people unaware, so Rostaman, aka Scotty, he changed his Twitch name to Scotty, but I had him on the cast about a year ago as Rostaman. He just recently broke his own world record, which is now 41:05. Now, of course, there is
Hmm.
RNG in every run. Obviously, that's just what RuneScape is at the end of the day.
Mhm.
Do you guys know what Jolanine's best ever time was?
Oh boy.
41.
Yeah, it's 41 something.
Yeah, I know he has a 41. I think he got, when we were running in the Speedrun Cup, I know he he fucking floored me with a 41.58. And I was like, oh god. And I think he had another one in the same yeah, he did. He had another one in the same tournament, but I don't know if it was his PB. So bare minimum he has a 41.58, but I don't know if I
I
couldn't
think
tell
he
you if
has
it's
I think
PB.
I just looked up his YouTube. So 6 months ago, he got a 42.09. And when you think about it, it's what,
6
like
months ago.
54 seconds slower than the current time that Rasta got. So it's just crazy to put all that into perspective. Like when he like when Neen runs, he's like so quick to get into form. But when there's something new to learn, like Rasta learns it so well. So it's like it's kind of cool. You've got like two different player profiles going at it.
And just for context as well, what are your guys' best times at Inferno?
Mine is a 42.36 recently during the Speedrun Cup.
I am fucking washed. I have a 43.59 from like 6 or 7 months ago.
And I have a 63 something.
Is that faster than its will? Because I know you had a
Hey,
little thing on its will in your series.
hey, I know it's Will's PB is
6303. That's
Oh
mine. That's
fuck, you're
mine.
faster than me. God damn it.
6303.
I think I tied its Will, but I checked the tick calculation, so it's possible I am faster, but I don't know. But
Hey, well,
I like its Will, man.
if we're gauging by like time, I mean, I got this time like 2 years ago, so technically I should probably be around like the 40, like low 40s at this point, right?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it might be a wreck. You know,
I think if you sent a run, you'd probably get like under an hour for sure. I mean, the new gear is just disgusting. It really, I don't know how Hemmiez feels, but it feels like my blowpipe actually hits, you know. Although sometimes it doesn't feel like that, but the new, like the ToA armors, the Zerite Van braces, it really just, it's extremely powerful.
Yeah, it's a good thing. It's probably a good thing now, like looking with hindsight, that the blowpipe did get nerfed. Can you imagine like pre-nerf blowpipe with today's gear? Jesus.
I might be a full-time streamer if that was the case.
I mean, like that blowpipe was so much better. Like we would actually be seeing like 38s, 39s probably easily.
Yeah, I mean, I think like it was just nuts, you know, like the not only was I think there was like a big max hit drop off, but just the accuracy I think too. And it would just shred, it would just shred. And I do miss it. Rest in peace, OG. Rest in peace. Rest in peace, OG blowpipe.
Yeah.
But
the 38 or 39 minute thing, it's like, it might sound a little ambitious looking at the thing right now, but I think a lot of things that people don't take into account is when you get a raw DPS boost, that makes the content, so it gets faster, but it also becomes easier.
Yeah.
And when it becomes easier, it also opens up the playing field to exponentially more players, right? And that makes more competition, and that makes people adapt and learn significantly quicker. So it's like, we really, like, I don't even know what time we could get, but I think 38 or like 39 would be kind of like on the lower end of it, because it's like we'd probably have so many more runners because people would be getting a lot faster times and shit. So there would, yeah, it's insane. But the main thing too is, it just fucking pissing me off because they nerfed that, because they're like, yo, like, we really made a mistake with the blowpipe. You know, it was too strong, and then we waited too long to fix it, and then they like instantly dropped the Fang, and then it was like the exact same shit. Or like, what are the, I don't, that fucking pissing me off. Like, they just instantly come out and they're like, yo, this one item too good at too many places, too strong all over the place, beating everything out. We don't have any we just don't have we don't have any leeway to drop anything better in the future. I was like, okay, yeah, you know, you learned your mistake, Jagex. and then instantly fucking Fang Lightbearer, most common items from the new raid that
Oh,
everybody can do. And now it's like we're 1 year in, the Lightbearer is 1 mil, and the fucking Fang is like 30. I was like, oh, bro,
Well,
I thought we just went over this. Like,
the main problem is just, I mean, it's so accessible, and
yeah,
I'm not. This has nothing to do with like trying to gatekeep people's fun. I actually think overall it was a big time net positive for ToA to be released, because it's gotten a lot of people into PVM, and it's shown people like, oh, okay, I can actually do raids. You know, I can actually, like, here's the step-by-step process into getting a little bit better. I can now practice top. I can practice chambers. I have the confidence to go into Inferno probably. But the problem is when you make the supposedly quote unquote end game content with all the best in slot uniques that are coming out, and then you allow every single player to access that content from day one. It's just like, clearly these prices are not going to be high. They're not going to remain high. Which I think is just the biggest problem. Because one thing I don't want to see, and this is just my fear for like content coming out, is like we shouldn't be catering everything just to the economy, like just what prices are going to be. So people are thinking like, wow, well, we should have made Fang like 5 times as rare or something, or Lightbearer 5 times as rare. I don't really think that's the way you should go. It's just balancing the content to make it more difficult and not have it accessible to every single person on release. I think that's really the key. Because if every single drop at ToA was just like 3 times as rare, that just is less fun. It's just like, God damn it, this place feels awful now.
chambers. It's like,
yeah, and that's one of my other concerns with. Well, here, let me actually just ask your guys' thoughts on the proposed solution for Cox Scouting. So, what for those listening, and for those maybe unaware, Jagex proposed something. It's not completely set in stone yet. There is discussion going around in social media, but basically, Jagex wants to allow a 500,000 GP fee to fully customize a raid. Now, you do still have to have 3 combat and 2 puzzle rooms, so you can't just have 1 room and then go into Ulm. But basically, it's fully customizable, but you need to pay a $500,000 per raid. And I'll let you guys, share your thoughts, and then I'll share what you guys probably already heard from me on Twitter.
Jimmy, you got your thoughts collected on it? Because I'm not gonna lie, I remember reading that and I was like, that's a lot to read, and I don't care enough anymore. But I did take a look at it, so you could go ahead first.
So again, I also took a brief look, but I think it's fine, and here's why. So if you're a main, I'm not gonna lie, money shouldn't be a fucking problem. And if you're doing fucking chambers as a main, like solo chambers, and you're not going for rec and you're just doing it for fun, even more so, then it just shouldn't be an issue to cough up 500K for a raid, right? But I think if you look at the totality of the player base, and considering there is a fraction that's significant that is like Ironman, right? Where GP isn't exactly the easiest thing to get, right? You can't just sell off your dupes to the GE. That's not how it works. I mean, I think that the customizability could maybe scale in price. So if you want something that's fully customizable, it can be 500K, right? But let's just say you want one specific layout. You don't really care which order the rooms are or what the rooms are, but you just want a 5-room. You want it, and it's 100K. Or 200K. I don't think people are really gonna bat an eye at that, right? And I think the changes in and of itself are a good concept. I think people just spend way too much time scouting, and it's just like, man, I just want to get in there and get it done and do it. But you also don't want to lose the uniqueness of every room in chambers, right? So maybe you'll never run Ice Demon unless it's in a CM, and I'm not saying that would suck for you, but that may suck for the game in general if everybody just fucking hates Ice Demon and no one appreciates a good surge. So
let me just push back real quick.
Sure.
Why is it important? Well, here, I'm going to just give a hypothetical, and then I'm going to share why I think it's completely just an invalid point, or just not invalid, but like there's a different solution entirely to this problem. So people, and I had arguments on Twitter saying like, no, like there's something special about the uniqueness of chambers and how like every room needs to be done occasionally, even though the vast majority of people will literally always skip vanguards or always skip whatever their most hated room is in chambers and just literally never do it if they're running normal Cox. And there really hasn't been a problem with that. Like people just want to do what they want to do. So my concern is Jagex is my biggest concern is that scouting is still in the game after over 6 years. And scouting is just inherently bad game design. It's just dog shit. And we should entirely remove it. And the only way to entirely remove it is to have 0 fee for fully customizable raids. Because as soon as there's any fee, people will not pay it. And the scouting will still be a recurring theme where it's just like, I don't want to pay this fee. I mean, even if they were to drop the fee to 50K, well, at that point, why even have the fee in the first place? But if you make it somewhere like in the 200K, like there's still going to be the average Joe, which is the vast majority of people running chambers, that are still not going to want to pay that. And so scouting is going to continually be a thing. And the only way to fully get rid of that is to allow you to just go to the board, select exactly what you want, and fucking run the raid. And if people's concern is that the uniqueness and the randomization of chambers is so charming, which I disagree with in the first place. But even if people, if I somehow conceded to that, that is an entirely separate issue that we need to address in and of itself. Like we need to look at Ice Demon. Ice Demon sucks. Not only is it bad points, but it's just unfun. It's just like, what the hell is going on here? Same with thieving. It's just unfun. Like, this is stupid. So just fix the inherent problems that like nobody wants to run those rooms. So address those. But that is a completely separate issue. And we could right now make the fully customizable raids completely free, and then later down the line when Jagex has the time and the resources, which they clearly do, but like nothing's getting done, just address those rooms, and that's a separate thing. And then you actually do have that variety where like, hey, Ice Demon doesn't suck ass, and I could actually just run it in my raid because I want to do it.
I mean, I honestly, that does not sound like a bad solution. I think we may have reached a point of no return, where like people are just so used to, I'm not gonna say like catered updates, right? Maybe that's poor choice, but I think we've reached a point where people are so used to having the ability to make their life easier, right? Whereas like when you think about like the OG RuneScape days, right? Like shit. Man, when I was like fucking like 6-7 years old, I was just killing cows, and just selling the cowhide, and I was just so happy and all that shit, and I was just super copium based. But that's not gonna cut it today, I'm just not gonna make that kind of money killing fucking cows, But I mean that kind of translates to like Chambers, right? For example, Chambers was super popular, right? Tob was super popular, but all of those raids, they have a certain uniqueness to it. So I do agree. Like, I mean, yeah, Ice Demon fucking sucks, but let's make it so it's not shit, right? Like, I think like what the Major used to in Inferno, right when it came out, the Major used to drag into melee distance whenever it was reviving something, right? So like Jagex didn't just say, oh, deal with it, right? They changed it. Now, granted, it was not 6 years after the release of Inferno, but I think the same principle can carry over. But maybe you can pay like, I don't know. I mean, scouting just fucking sucks. I remember scouting like almost 1,000 on my iron, and I know you've done probably way fucking more than me.
No, I mean,
and I just couldn't handle that. And I was like, fuck this shit. This is so stupid. I just want to raid, and I just want to send it. And,
that is
scouting Discord.
That is such a based response. Is like, I just want to raid. Like, I just want to fucking enter the raid and start playing already. And before I let Hemmiez go, I know I'm going on another rant, but like, okay, with this update, by the way, I personally think all Ironmen, if this current proposal gets implemented, which would be a shame, and I think there's way better solutions, if it does get implemented, I wouldn't lose sleep over it, first of all. And I think Death's Coffer should be able to pay for these fees.
Oh, yeah.
I think that makes perfect sense. The people that aren't against this, the people that are totally for this, will be the people that spend 500K every single raid to get a fully custom layout, which is so dumb because they're the exact same people that are saying, no, the charm and the uniqueness of Chambers needs to be maintained over everything else. So people need, and they're the exact same people that will literally never do a randomized raid again because they're rich enough to just be like, fuck that, I'm going to just send whatever I want. That is so backwards, and I just feel like people need to see that. Like, if this update gets implemented, I will always do fully custom layouts. I will literally chuck all my uniques into Death's coffer and enjoy the hell out of Chambers and spend the money. But for the average Joe, this isn't going to change shit because there's no way they're going to pay that fee every time. So the only way to fully get rid of the scouting problem is to make it completely free, because that's deep down what everyone wants. They just want to have fun. They want to go in with the rooms they've selected. Now, there's still challenge mode, so you still eventually, for those noobs out there, you still need to eventually learn every room if your end goal is to get the kits and the dust and all that. But I really don't think that the charm and the uniqueness and the randomization is anything to be like worth having over just eliminating scouting entirely. Hemmiez, what are your thoughts?
I think you touched on something really good there, which was the concept of, the people complaining about it, or the people talking about this concept of like, oh, it's so charming to not have to have the randomness. Those guys really aren't going to be doing it, and I think we see that theme in a lot of different things where the people complaining about it are not the people suffering from it, and the people the people that do suffer from it might not have as much of a say because maybe they're newer players, maybe they don't care about fucking RuneScape Twitter because they're newer players. It's like, good on them, like, thank God, just get the fuck off RuneScape Twitter. But yeah, no, I did think that was a really good thing. Yeah, I think you touched on a great point with that. I personally am just, I used to be, I don't know, I used to really want to care and like do a lot for the game and like try and like hope for like good updates and stuff. Now this is one of those updates that when I said like I just kind of read it and was like, oh yeah, I really did just kind of start coasting and go like, okay, well that's it, like this is, I saw fucking people, same thing with the star shit, like everybody was getting into arguments and shit, and I was like, bro, like I'm not reading that. Like, I was just fuck it. I was like, oh yeah, whatever. But the one thing that I did have to say about the new scouting changes is, scouting good, but from what I understood, they said that basically you can pick absolutely anything. So if I want a shaman Tecton guardians room, like, I don't think that's a possible layout right now, but it will be possible because with the new scouting changes where you can just pick anything you want. I don't like that. I think they should stick to, you can pick anything out of what you can currently pick, right? Because otherwise, then we sort of have, I don't want to call it legacy. It's not legacy, but we have 6 years of, everybody like this is what's possible, this is what's runnable, and then now we're going to I don't know, to wipe that all away. I want to make it clear that this isn't a problem with like, we don't want to change it. I think it's more, the problem isn't that it's change. I think the problem is that it's they're throwing unnecessary complexity into a situation, and that tends to produce unwanted consequences from, whether or not someone's going to find something and they're going to be like, oh my god, like this is AIDS now, or like, oh, we have to change all this, and like, oh, the records are, like, I don't think when we asked for scouting changes, I don't think anyone was sitting here and saying, hey, we have to be able to pick any layout we want. I think people just wanted to say like, oh, I want a layout that we have right now. I just don't want to have to fucking scout for it, right?
Yeah.
By throwing in this additional element of like, okay, so now you can pick, whatever layout you want, but we're also going to change like several other variables, and now you're capable of doing picking everything, and now people are gonna so like VTVs are, I don't know, maybe VTVs are probably still gonna be the best thing, but like people are, I don't know, I think it's gonna change a whole lot of metas and make things whenever they change several different variables, I think they're opening themselves up to things going wrong. And if the way I see it, if people didn't ask for that, nobody fucking asked for explicitly to pick any to mix and match my raid. I just wanted to not have to fucking scout for a VTV, right? Or like someone just wanted to not scout for their fucking overload raid, right? I think just give people what they wanted, and don't overcompensate sometimes if it's not necessary. Because in the past I've seen like I can't even count the number of times that Jagex is like, oh shit, like people are complaining about something, and then they add one fix, so they fix the problem, and then they add like 15 other things, and then everybody's fucking complaining about the other shit now, and their PR goes down the shitter. And then they also well, this might be projecting, but I think that how they interpret it is like they asked for these changes, we implemented these changes, and we're still getting backlash. Okay, and then they just start like undermining the seriousness of some of our critiques, because it's like, well, we got flamed anyway, like clearly what you were flaming us for wasn't that important. And it's like, no, you just started adding different shit, and then
no, they do have a track record of overcompensating. However, I actually don't think the overcompensation in this particular example is unwarranted. I think it's totally fine. I think the fact that you can actually just set up any custom raid is going to be pretty nice. And like you said earlier, who knows, but I still think a VTV is still going to be just the preferred runnable raid. I think it's just their overall, like, because they're using a legacy system with that, if this were to be implemented, they would rather just kind of overhaul the whole thing just to allow, because there's going to have to be some engine work into just going to the board and selecting a raid. So I think the way they're doing it without just two wheels that are the cycle of how they go. So
I remember like on my iron, like I tried VTVs when I was going for the GM time, and all I remember was this sucks. Like just with my shit gear, like it just wasn't gonna cut it. But when I switched to like like a Mudguard vest rotation, I was like, I'm actually like cranking this, and so whether it's RNG or not, I don't know, but I do agree. I mean, it does need some of that like unique feeling, and if you're gonna fully customize it, maybe paying GP isn't the way to go, and just make it free.
Yeah, I'm glad you guys are really open with this discussion. It's nice to hear. And we also have to think, for maybe those listening that are maybe in disagreement, like, we gotta consider Chambers have insanely rare purple rates that are pretty ancient at this point, and inevitably throughout the next 5-10 years there's going to be more raids coming out. So are we just going to make sure that nothing changes with Chambers because it's this perfect, like, God made Chambers absolutely perfect and never touch it again? Because like we are going to come out with further raids that are going to devalue these Chambers items. So at this point, I think it's almost totally fine. Like, this is one of the arguments that I'm trying to kind of counter it, is like, an argument I've heard is that if you allow free customizable raids, the economy is going to get drastically affected, and like every item from Chambers is going to plummet in price, which personally I don't agree with. I think, yes, there will be more people doing Chambers because it's not going to be a headache to get into anymore, which is a overall good thing. People are not going to be doing the other raids as much, so the economy will get affected regardless of whatever the hell happens. But prices might drop a little bit. I don't think it'll be anything substantial, but is that the end of the world? Like, what if Raids 4 comes out and we come out with like an Ancestral 2.0 or just some other amazing raid, range item, or Raids 5 comes out, Raid 6 comes out? It's like, eventually these items will be binned. Like, there will come a time.
Yeah.
And it's okay for the Tebow to not continually be 400, 500, 600 hours plus.
And even like as a main, I'm gonna be honest, okay? It's fucking 2023. You know, get your money up because it shouldn't be a big deal. Like, I'm not saying you should have max gear because I certainly don't. You know, but like it shouldn't be a problem. Like you just I don't think it should be that much of an issue considering how long some of the best how long some of the best GP methods have been out. It really like shouldn't be a big deal as a main. Like maybe as an iron you might care, but it's like, bro, why are you caring about the bank value, you know? So I've never really understood like the whole argument on like, oh, like older items are now going to be devalued. I mean, sure, when Shadow came out, I think Tebow fell under a bill. And where is it now? It's like back up to 12, you know, whatever, 1.2 bill or 1.3 bill. It's like, is it really that big of a fucking deal? I don't think so. Not to me, at least. But
Yeah.
I think a lot of people really just care about that shit.
Yeah, I don't know. I understand. Well, first of all, I play as an Iron Man, so if I ever just say anything like, oh, I don't really care that much about the economy, people are just going to blame it on me being an Iron Man, which there is a little bit of truth to that. But it's not the end of the world if something isn't the price that you randomly think in your mind should be. Like we don't. The prices are supply and demand. It's just like, just because a price drops or raises, like there isn't a price it needs to be set at for the game to be in a healthy state. Like, I don't know. Like, there are other
Like
concerns
sure,
with
like
that.
if you're working towards like max gear or something, you know, you're like, dang, like it's crazy. This site that I got now for 300 mil would have been like 650 mil like a year ago. It's like, yeah, but does it really fucking matter? I mean, just
Yeah.
keep sending more raids, you know, like keep having fun. Fuck it. Um,
Yeah, I mean, Raids 4, listen, if Raids 4 comes out and it is very difficult, something like on the level of ToB release, where like literally nobody got a completion for the first day or two, and only the very best teams were getting any completions, like that would be insane. First of all, that would be awesome to actually have the highest tier level content come out, and it's actually gate kept to the people that are the most skilled and the best players. I think it's totally fair for an end game piece of content to allow that.
yeah.
If that does come out, like that will make the prices insane. Everything will be in the bills. Like that would be awesome. That's how you make prices in the bills. You have to limit the accessibility, not unnaturally, just the fact that the content is so difficult that's what's
Yeah.
happening. So
I mean, like how sick, like it's so cool. Like when you think about ToB, it's like how much effort people had to put in to get just the fucking KC, you know. And even after they got the KC, like they weren't sweating about like, oh, what's the fast? It's not like day two, right? Where they're like, okay, now that I've done this raid, I'm gonna now bring an 8-way switch in to maximize my DPS. And it's like, bro, like even having fun, or you're just like trying to figure out what's the fastest way to complete this raid? And I think like the cool thing with ToB was it was that difficult and it really challenged a lot of players in that way. Um, but I don't know. I mean, and I'm actually kind of glad. Like, I think a lot of people expected like ToA to be and I'm a victim of this as well. But I think a lot of people expected ToA to be Raids 3, right? In that it should be much more significantly different and difficult than
yeah,
like ToB or Chambers. But the truth is, it was meant to be accessible. And the second I got over that, obviously I fucking stopped sending ToA. So like, don't ask me to ToA because I'm shit. But I still think it's a fantastic thing overall.
yeah,
You
yeah,
get you get a best in slot item. You have like the reward is fully customizable to the difficulty that you do, right? And it's dependent on that. And I think that's great. I think, you know, obviously Baba Room is fucking cancer, but that's okay.
that's not
There's nothing
okay.
I can do. You know, it's okay to me because I don't
Yeah,
fucking do that shit.
yeah,
But if I was still doing TOA, I'd be like, what is this? You know, why am I fucking doing these slow ass Nyla waves? That's the only thing I'm thinking of.
yeah,
But I think overall, in terms of accessibility, I think your average Redditor, which is going to be my example here, is is comfortable with doing a raid. So maybe that has inspired them to go do Chambers, right? Or maybe go do ToB or go do Inferno, which, you know, it compounds and it leads you to other activities. But I think overall it's a good thing, and I think if the expectation was it's going to be Raids 3 is going to be harder than ToB, you probably would have been disappointed like myself. But I don't know. I think something about getting the KC and kind of clawing for it is there's a certain appeal to that.
yeah.
I,
No,
I
I
think
mean, Yeah.
No,
No,
you can
sorry.
go
Go
ahead.
for it, Hemmies.
Okay. That I haven't heard or I haven't seen that experience in so long. Like the whole, because that was also something I really liked about Top Release, where it's just for a solid. It wasn't even like It wasn't like 1 week. Okay, let's fucking. Because I mean, for ToA, I don't even think it was a week, right? It was like a couple days, and it's like, okay, we're not playing for clears anymore. We're playing for how fast can we get this done? How how many raids per hour can I get? And I know a lot of people have fun by taking that sort of optimization approach. I mean, even I do to some degree, but I really did enjoy that aspect of TOB where for literally like the first month, maybe 2 to 3 months really, but like it was a fight for survival. It was like if you could speed run, then it was great, but the vast majority of players getting clears at the time, it's like we were happy to just get decent clears, and every fight still felt like there was some pushback. It felt like if you're hunting, it's like there's okay, well maybe hunting's a bad example, but
I wanted to see where you were going with
it was
that.
it's a fight though, it's like,
Yeah.
oh shit, like we might fucking wipe here if we don't do something, we might actually we have to constantly be engaged without just like, because when it comes to, at least in my head from like a speedrunner's perspective, like 'cause once you end up so proficient at any piece of content, it's not a fight anymore. It's like you're toying with it and you're trying to make it work out the way you expect it to. But it's like, it's not sheer difficult. It's not really that difficult anymore. It's like, okay, something didn't happen the way I wanted to, whatever. I'm gonna voluntarily suicide because the rest of the content is like, it was just like boring or easy or whatever. Whereas Taba was like, so many people were just happy to grind and try and squeeze out that KC, and instead of making it all about like optimizing for the start. And I enjoyed that. I definitely enjoyed that. Not to say that optimizing is a bad thing, because I mean, I do a lot of that myself. I love analytics, and I love breaking things down into how we can optimize them. But it's just been a while since we've had that, and I quite enjoyed that. So
Okay.
But yeah, you were saying.
No, you're good. Let's take a quick break. I'm gonna go pee.
You Miami rage quitted.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna tell you about look at Dear Lola's stream. Why's he got Oda in his title?
Bro, he's on fucking Oda's fucking group Iron Man team. That's gonna be so fun.
Who
Yeah,
is?
the group hardcore one.
I was
Lola's
like,
on
I saw
Lola's
that.
on
I was
Oda's
like, nah, that's gotta be
yeah.
cap.
Bro, that's good for him though, he'll make some money. Although I don't think he's fucking getting past the Barrow's Glove stage.
Bro, I mean, maybe Lola's like really good at other content. I don't know. I've never seen him do other.
What do you
content.
mean, really good at other?
All right, yeah.
That's for
That
another.
was surprising. I saw that.
That's for
like,
Sae Bae After Dark.
Oh shit.
Oh god. A cold one here on Twitter is asking, being the Inferno connoisseurs that you are, how difficult do you think the sub 65 Inferno task is for aspiring grandmasters?
Oh man. So first of all, shout out Chungus. Great guy, and I don't know what your experience has been, Hemmies, but
No,
when you think of like other, like Twitch streamers that have been supportive, like I'm not talking like sending raids, but like just answering streaming questions and like creating questions. There's no one better that I've, been guided by. So shout out Chungus. But to answer his question, I honestly think it's pretty simple once you break it down. Once you break the Inferno down. Now that means getting a couple KC under your belt, learning what waves kind of scare you and learning what waves you feel kind of comfortable in. And then honestly using Hemmy's guide that he created last year, which is, in my opinion, kind of like the holy grail for speedrunning in Inferno. and kind of looking through solves in there and recording your own solves to try to improve, asking for VOD reviews from people who have faster times. Which, in the speedrunning Discord, many people will dedicate time towards helping you get better. But I mean, I did it on my hardcore with Addy darts, black D-hide top, a bofa, and snakeskin boots and red chins. And it's super. I mean, it's very winnable. Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty easy task, I think, once you break it down.
Yeah.
Dude, you started shouting them out and like and buttering them up, glazing them up. I was like, he's gonna say some fucked up shit after. Like
You know,
that's like an apology.
someone
But
someone commented on my YouTube and they're like, "Well, this is like actually a serious video." And I was like, "What the fuck, man?" I'm like, "Yeah, like don't get me wrong, I'm like usually shit posting or just cracking jokes, but I can be genuine, I
yeah,
can be
yeah,
genuine."
crazy Jimothy out there. I mean, that yeah. When Chungus made that, I wasn't sure if that was a nah. Chungus wouldn't mean like that. So but yeah, for a little bit, I was like, Is he? Does he want me to like reply to it seriously? In a serious sense, yeah. It's not a hard task. Anyone who's so Inferno has this thing, as does Tob, where its initial impression on release was so difficult that it's intimidating even if you've barely done it, because you'll always, even if you've never watched the content or whatever, you'll hear people talking like, wow, like this is so fucking hard. This is the hardest piece of content in the game, right? It's the same thing for Top. It's like it's the hardest raid. Nobody could complete it for days on release, right? So I feel like some of that impression has carried over and makes the content more intimidating, which is why a lot of people might find it to be harder, or they might think it's harder than it actually is. But um, with all the metas we have out today and all the info laid out, it's really sub 65 is super doable for any aspiring grandmaster. Like I mean, earlier we were talking about Psalm, and like Psalm, from my understanding, she like, I mean, she knew she could get the Inferno, but after that she was like, I'm not going to speed run this. Like this, it's too hard. And the thing is, it's like now she's trying it, and she hasn't been trying for very long as far as I'm aware. And she literally was pacing into Zuck. She was gonna beat the time by like 4 minutes flat, and she was like, "That was easy." I was like, "Yeah, because it's genuinely very doable. You just have to try it." As with many other things in life, right? It's like I want this, I want that physique, I want this money or whatever, but it's too scary. There's too many obstacles. And then that's where the difficulty is. You're too scared to even try. So when it comes to the Inferno time, it's the exact same thing. It's like sub 65 is very doable. You just have to go in and actually look at the resources. Yeah.
And I will say as well, I thought maybe sub 65 would be a bit intimidating when, this was like 2 years ago when I was going for my Zuck helm. And literally the best advice I can give to an average Joe like me in regards to Inferno is just speed run the living fuck up until like wave 56 and then slow down. Like, because you might as well go as fast as possible when there's nothing really on the line. Just go as fast as you can initially and chuck chins at the beginning nibblers, and then once things start picking up past wave 56 or so, then you can slow down and you're gonna have plenty of time to just chill out for a second. That's my best advice: is go as fast as you can up until about that point, and then you can slow down and just secure the run, basically.
I mean, to add on to that, that's a really key part about the Inferno in general, which is like people want to speed, and they're all so panicked into it because maybe at the start they're scared, but once they give it a shot, they're like, oh my god, like I'm pacing, I can do this, I'm fast, right? And then they keep that mentality throughout the entire run, when it's like you really shouldn't, because if all you want is the sub 65, it's exactly like you described. A lot of the times smashing the pace into like 60 something, and then we get to the 60s and it's fucking hard to live, right? It just is. There's no denying it. And then but they keep that rushing mentality, and they're like, oh well, I can't lose ticks, like I can't just, I have to run out there and hit everything. And then they die, and then it makes it, like 3 times as long as it should have taken, because they have to go Turael and they have to go get more tasks. It's like, realistically, most of the time you can, do what you want on all the safe waves. Obviously, have the resources, learn the main resources and the proper ways to solve a lot of the waves. But then once you get to the difficult things, feel free to take your time, because you're gonna have, you're gonna have the leeway, and it's just not worth wiping, resetting, and then having to go back to Turael. So, but yeah, that's really good advice, I would say.
I think the best advice I've ever given on this topic is just to control the wave. So like, if you feel comfortable with the wave, and you feel comfortable kind of stepping out in the middle, right? Do that. But if it's going to be a wave like, wave 30, which has 2 bats, a blob, a melee, and a ranger, if you don't feel comfortable, just fucking chill back. Just fucking send a barrage and kill whatever's near you, let things drag in, right? And if at the end of that run your time's like 68, 69, 70 minutes, you'll know that you can probably clean up somewhere, right? And you'll think back to those moments. But every wave that you're encountering, you've probably done that wave before, right? So simplify the wave, control the wave, and you'll win.
Okay, 42 asks, how could/should Venibo be improved for high-end PVM? Sponsored by CBET-RS.
That
He's gonna let
motherfucker
you speak.
sponsoring? That guy's fucking broke. How's he sponsoring shit?
That man's got cockroaches in his orange juice. Not true story. Ask him about it. But
Oh
Jesus,
no, I know.
man.
Dude, no, that's not the worst story he's had. He's had a lot
that
of
actually,
wild
Hey, he
stories.
can hold a handstand for a minute. That's
Bro,
impressive.
he do a handstand push-up. You should have him on and have him talk about all the fucking. You don't want to hear his stories.
Yeah,
Though.
actually,
His
well,
but
I'll definitely have him on. I need to get him on. He's a clown.
Me and CBET talked a lot about this when it just came out, but this might make it a little unbalanced, a little bit too powerful, but the way I saw it, like, this just irked me, because the way the Venator bow works is it's not symmetrical, or so it can, in one way it's you'll shoot something and it'll bounce to a target and then it'll bounce back, so you get the 3 bounces, right? And that's the whole point of the Venator bow. It's supposed to be really strong if you get the 3 bounces. And that works from like one side or whatever, but sometimes you'll shoot, and if it hits a smaller target, so even if it bounced from one target to another, it won't bounce back. And I'm doing a pretty shit job of explaining it because I haven't fucking looked at it in like a year, but basically, in situations where you would shoot one target and it would bounce to it and it works like bidirectionally, it's not the case. So it just won't bounce back for some reason, even though if you shot it, so the second bounce won't bounce back, even though if you originally shot that second target, it would bounce back. Fucking Addy explaining, Addy CBET chatting, or whatever the fuck. But and that irks me the most, because in cases where it feels like you would shoot something and it should bounce 3 times, it will only bounce twice, and that obviously impedes the DPS by like getting a shit ton.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'll watch CBET like shoot a Venator bow on a melee and a nibbler, right? And you would think, oh, and it also doesn't like bounce back if it kills the target, which is, I don't think that's how it should be. But like, he'll shoot it, it'll hit the melee, it should hit the nibbler, and then you would think, well, it just hit the nibbler, right? It should be able to bounce back because it just fucking hit the nibbler, but it won't. So it'll only do twice, and then at that point, it's it's barely worth taking.
Is it
certainly not worth taking for an inventory slot?
Is it random if it only bounces twice, or is there any is there a reason why it's not getting that third bounce?
So that I wouldn't say that's random, because that part that's probably just how it's coded, like it's consistent. But the other part where it sometimes bounces if it dies, I think is random, because I remember they talked about it on on a blog or something, where they were like, sometimes we found that like the Venator bow wasn't bouncing after it killed a target. We've adjusted it to fix that, and it's like still does that. Not as commonly, but it still does do that. And we're taking something that's already ridiculously hard to use, super niche, and well, now also pretty expensive, and it's just, I don't know, it's certainly weaker than it feels.
So the best way to fix it, you would say, is just to always guarantee, if there is a chance to get a third bounce, always give it.
I guess no, I'd say, well, that's part of it, and if it can bounce to a target, it should be able to bounce back to the target that it just came from.
Yeah.
That is, and I wouldn't even say that's a balancing issue. That just
makes sense.
It just pisses me off, really. It's like an OCD thing where it's just like, dude, it's fucking go both ways.
What's crazy is like I had a huge OCD problem with the scythe, and I still do, although I haven't done content as much with it in these certain situations. But for example, if you're killing Thermi with a scythe, Thermi is a 4x4. Clearly, every single one of your 3 hits from the scythe should be given to that monster you're targeting.
Oh.
But if a little smoke devil goes under, there's a chance it's almost, I'm pretty sure it's like 100% of the time, as long as that little smoke devil is somewhere in that little 3-tile range where it can get swiped on, it will get swiped on, even though you're not even targeting it. And there's clearly that monster that you are targeting is big enough to get all 3 swipes. That pisses me off to no end. It's the same thing with Sarachnis. If there's a little mage spider that's underneath Sarachnis and you're swinging your scythe, it'll just hit the mage spider. I'm like, bro, this is a 5x5 monster. Like, come on.
It's not even a balancing thing, right? Well, I mean, in that case, it is, because you are losing DPS. But more than anything, it's just mental frustration.
It's
just
so
OCD.
annoying. It just, like, why couldn't it be coded that if the monster is larger than a 2x2, so a 3x3 and bigger, if you're targeting it, every single one of those 3 hit spots goes to that monster, and it just ignores anything that's underneath it. Like, god damn it, that pisses me off so much.
Yeah, I don't know. It's definitely the same case for me with the fucking Venator bow, as Sae Bae would call it. But yeah, that's what I do to fix it. Might be a little too strong after that, but I'm not the fucking dev. I'm not doing the calcs, so it is what it is. What do you think, Jimmy?
Man, I would be honest. I do not care for the Venator bow, because it is not I do not use it in Inferno, and I think it's there are far too few situations to merit an inventory slot that could be for something else. And therefore, I think it's absolutely a waste of space for me, but I do know it's valuable, right? It's a nice little weapon to kind of mess around with, and I think those mechanics can be improved upon from what you guys were discussing. But I don't use it personally, so I can't really comment on it that much. I use it for like killing ghosts, but then I realized like even that's like not efficient, and I'm like, well, what's the point of me using this? So I don't know. Like, I have no comment.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Fuck the Veni bow. Sorry, Sae Bae.
Fuck Sae Bae.
Facts.
I'm glad they released it, because besides Inferno, there's some really... I think the best spot for the Venator bow is AFKing jellies in the catacombs. It's literally click once and then AFK forever. It's
that
pretty
sounds
chill.
Interesting.
It's chill. Well, there is randoms. It's after about 5 minutes, there's a good chance that your guy just somehow you kill all 3 of the last jellies at the same time, and then you're just sat there standing. But there is some good chances that you could sit there for quite a while. Just got to get your prayer up.
Quality of life weapon.
Yeah, no, seriously, it's just one of those like, hell yeah, this thing is comfy. It's a comfy weapon. That's what it is.
I wish I still had my iron so I could do that. Yeah, it's a different time. I enjoyed the game a lot more when I was playing iron. Now I'm just fucking log in once a week and fucking die in the Inferno, call it a day.
No,
Duo
that's
Inferno,
kind of
call it
what
a day.
happens. Like Iron Man definitely makes you feel like there's
You can play the game for as a kid again. It's
yeah,
cool.
like the game's magical. You're feeling this nice progression, and then you realize you've spent 10,000 plus hours
Oh
into this
yeah.
fucking game, and you're like, okay, maybe I need help, and then you de-iron, and then the game just becomes like, oh, I'll just do the one thing I enjoy, log out for a week, do it again. Yeah, it's kind of what happens.
I'll never forget getting a Torag plate body on my first hardcore though. I was like, let's fucking go. I was freaking out harder than like when I got my first slice split. I was like, let's fucking
Dude, I
go.
will say now, I think the biggest part is age related. I think like the younger you
True.
are,
Yeah.
like video games just feel better when you're younger. Like you're just sucked into them
Oh,
a lot harder.
100%. And the opportunity cost isn't as present. It's like, yeah, I
Yes.
can fuck around and do this. And then now it's like, okay, well, I gotta be up in like 4.5 hours. Like this is not what I should be doing right now. So
Yeah, no, it's also like sometimes life, at least for me personally, it was overwhelming. And so just sucking yourself into a fantasy world and just becoming obsessed with it was super addicting, super fun. So, but I just remember, early college days playing my first Iron Man. Every single new thing I was doing was completely fresh, and it was so phenomenal. Like just the feeling of going to Sire and then going to Serb and then, getting my first occult and just progressing and then trying out chambers. Like all of these
and
things were brand
there
new, and it was all on an account that couldn't trade and just felt fucking amazing. It was so addicting at that time.
unlocks on unlocks on unlocks on
And
unlocks.
it's your first playthrough of it too. Like some people, can kind of get that enjoyment. Like they'll play a new account, they kind of experience that fun again. But nothing will ever beat that first time where you're
Mhm.
doing this content just initially and learning it and just seeing drops. Oh,
Very pop.
good times. Okay, Black Suns, this is kind of an IRL topic. Black Suns is asking Jimmy, are we still lifting?
Yes, absolutely. When I make the trip, which will be hopefully next year. But yeah, I mean, I think the question's more geared maybe at like just fitness stuff. And I mean, my advice is even if you like, let's say you're an introvert, right? And COVID made things like even worse for you to get out. You can still like focus on your health, right? Whether it's like little push-ups at home or just like, just going for a walk. I mean, even a walk's just like can be life-changing. Um, so just I don't know, just make sure you're fucking moving every day. Um, but yeah, I guess that's really all I have to say. Hemmies, I don't know if you've got anything to say to Mr. Sons, but I'm down to work out, Sons. Just need to make the trip.
RuneScape work. I will say it's super wholesome seeing that because as kids we all think RuneScapers, what the fuck, like guys got to be a nerd, right? But it's like you look at RuneScapers and nowadays it's like nah, like there's a lot of fucking built shredded people out there that are just playing RuneScape, having enjoy it on the side and then like fucking get jacked. It's like, yeah, respect, so but yeah, nothing really to say. It's wholesome to see. I could
I
open
mean,
up
even
this
Autumn
tweet.
Elegy, the star of I guess old skilling methods. Not taking a jab at him or anything, but he's fucking jacked, like beyond
Is he?
belief.
That's
Yeah,
Yeah,
pop.
I'm gonna show
oh,
a picture.
Holy
dude,
fuck, I
I
gotta
saw
see
him and
this.
I was like, yeah, maybe I should fucking stop Turael skipping and go for a fucking run, And
Yeah.
it's but like it's things like that, like you're always going to be like a product of basically the top 5 people you hang out with, right?
Yep.
Whether it's like online or whether it's in real life, whatever it is. So if all your boys online are taking a fucking break to go work out, I mean, what the fuck are you gonna do? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Or
that's
like
fair.
same thing with IRL. So if they all do speedrunning Inferno, I mean, maybe yeah. Like, dude, look at him. He's just fucking jacked. Now the only thing I don't like about him is his fucking
Bro.
free to play fetish, but you know, it's cool. I'm with it. He's
So let
fucking
me let
jacked.
me
He
let
can
me
do
just
whatever.
show you the difference though, because he has a picture of what he did look like back when he was going for 200 mil mining.
Oh yeah.
Oh
Um,
no! Now you got me scared.
gosh.
no, it's
Oh god.
crazy.
You get good news
Uh,
first, not the bad news first. Oh shit!
I mean, he seriously had an entire transformation. I'm really like, honestly, when I think of Elegy, I think of like inspirational. Just like this dude, skinniest, scrawniest, nerdiest, into literal Giga Chad. So look at this. Let me link it to you first.
I will say I also like the inspirational thing kind of hit me just because I knew he was he never
what is that?
bro
Oh my god.
bro
Yeah.
wow
And
holy
the latest picture is from like 2021, I believe. So this, I mean, this
yeah
is only
he's
showing just
only
2
better.
years.
I mean, he's got to be like actually like closer to two. Well, no, he's probably like 180 pounds, but holy
No.
fuck, he
No,
is
no. He's still
built.
he's still about 162, I think.
No way.
Yeah.
He's fucking jacked,
I
dude.
mean, he's really lean in that last picture.
Oh
So,
yeah.
I mean, I mean, he had to have put on like 30 pounds of muscle within,
Yeah.
the whatever 5 years or 4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good
I mean,
work.
I know like during COVID at least, like oh man, I didn't fucking like I didn't move, you know, I didn't like exercise, and I remember it got to a point where I was like I was going for a walk outside and I was like I don't ever remember struggling to like, you know, to walk at like a brisk pace. And I remember like then and right there, I like made a decision. I was like, this can't happen. But
Oh yeah.
I mean, being able to like talk to people who also work out, like Cancer, for example, like I think he's a fucking trainer now. But not only is he like a demon in like speedrunning, but he's also just fucking jacked. So like just fucking having like a plan and executing on that is
Yep.
super important.
Yeah. The fucking the going outside for like a run and then just realizing like I can't do this is that hit home, dude. Because I remember, like I used to run as a kid, and
Yeah.
I was like, I've never had any problems with like my physicality. So I kind of coasted for some reasons, but basically I was never really worried about my physique. And then at one point I kind of ran. Like my brother was going for a run and I was like, oh yeah, like let me join you. And I realized like I couldn't even get around the block anymore.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck me, dude, like I need to get back
It's
on
so
this,
depressing when you
yeah.
get to that point. Yeah.
It's like, dude, like bro, I can't be like this. So like after that, like I run every other day now, 'cause, like I'm
Yeah.
not gonna let myself get back to that. But yeah, like
It's just so
working out.
important to just move. It's like it really isn't even about like the vanity of like having a great physique. It's just about
Oh
like
yeah.
your fucking health, because you're not young forever. You're gonna get old and you're gonna regret the time when it was easy to stay healthy. Because
Oh
when you
yeah.
start having
Billion
back pain and swollen ankles from just sitting all day and all this shit, like it's not fun.
It's just, I mean, we all know the 100 like billion different effects. Like mental deterioration. The biggest prevention method is to just stay active, right? It's like you
Hmm.
look at the cross sections of like someone's leg when they're living a sedentary life at 70 versus like a triathlon runner. Or it's like it's night and day, right? And we all know about that. We all hear that as kids, and we're like, like I'll do it, but like they don't really care. It's like, I don't know. It definitely needs something to push you over that line, because, like you said, it's not even about like the vanity. It's not like, oh my god, I need to look phenomenal, right? It's like, it's just take care of yourself, because I couldn't think of anything more depressing than being 40 and trapped in a situation that you knew you put yourself in,
Yeah.
and you can't get out. There's no way to get out, right? There's a lot of times where, like I'm in debt. Well, I can find a way to get out. I'm in a toxic relationship. Okay, well I can fucking get out, right? But fucking being trapped in a body that hurts and aches and is forgetting things and is suffering from heart disease and all these innumerable number of terrible things, right? If we can do anything to help people not put themselves in their own coffin, that'd be fucking great. So seeing this autumn Elegy transformation, that's sick, man. Like I didn't realize he was 128
Also,
pounds.
another person, fucking, was it Fat Clouds? Like,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Oh my goodness, dude! Like he was like the definition of fucking modern day neat, you know? Like he was one of the people who I watched like when I came onto Twitch, and I was like, holy fuck! Like he's just fucking grinding in this game, and when that switched his health, like I mean, he lost just an insane amount. So like I feel like people overthink that like, oh, like I'm just a RuneScape player, I'm never gonna be able to do XYZ. I mean, I might even argue because you're just, fucking you know what it's like to just grind for something. It should just be easier since you had that mentality. So don't give up.
Yeah,
oh my
no.
god.
No, I mean
Yeah,
he obviously, like, if he were to like clean up his face a little bit, which I think he looks good, but if you were to clean up, like he really did lose a lot of weight. I mean,
yeah,
Yeah.
let me just
that's nice.
let me try to show you let me try to find a picture of what he looked like in the early days, because yeah, there was a certain picture. I think I have actually a picture on my phone. I took a screenshot of me watching Twitch, like the day. Actually, here, I can actually literally find it on my phone real quick. But Fat Cloud's transformation was really cool. I was actually so surprised that Fat Clouds literally just left streaming. I thought that was his calling in life. And he just and it was going well, like, to be honest. I think there's so much more to it. I don't think he was finding any fulfillment in grinding RuneScape anymore. And I think part of that, in order to get out of that whole rut of him just feeling addicted to RuneScape, he had to stop streaming entirely, just to get out of that environment. But like, he was such a great entertainer. He was so fucking funny. So
Never a dull moment in his stream.
literally never a dull moment. It was all fun. Yeah.
I mean, it's also like BF Rocket, like they just move on to better, like they move on to a self-improvement phase, and they figure out like, oh, I do or I don't have time for streaming in this new version of my life. And how could you ever hate that, Like it's just somebody that wants to get better and be better and achieve the highest form of themselves. So there's no hating here for that.
Yeah,
Even if they're good, it's
go.
like it's that sense of just because they're good at it doesn't mean they should do it. I think is kind of honorable, because they just, I mean, like, make no mistake, if they're built for it, it's phenomenal. That's great, but sometimes it's just not the right time, And then if they can find some, because it's exceptionally hard to leave something that you're good at. But if they're leaving it because they know they're in pursuit of something better, and they can actually take that leap of faith, then I'm happy to see it. It worked out good for them in the end. So, but yeah, go ahead.
No, I found the picture. I'm gonna link it. I have to do it on mobile, so I had to link it to you guys, and then I'll show it on my screen real quick. So this was like September of 2019. Let me link it. Just for a comparison. Let me pull this up.
I mean, you can just see it from his face. That's just nuts.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Holy.
Yeah, so when you see just that difference, I mean, he's not like shredded by any means, but he definitely got super healthy. And I'm pretty sure he shredded like at least 80 pounds or something.
Yeah.
So
Even that, it's like, if you just follow somebody on Instagram or Twitter or TikTok or whatever the fuck, like, remember, that's just like the social media high. So, like, as long as you're feeling better and you're improving your lifestyle, it doesn't really matter what's
dude,
going on.
social media is it's the worst when it comes to body dysmorphia and just thinking, like, just feeling shit about yourself. Because,
Oh,
and
yeah.
this is actually real, by the way. So, fitness influencers, first of all, most of them are on drugs.
Yep.
Almost every single one of them that is like made for like fitness or whatever, like that's like their whole calling is just like be a fitness influencer. They're on such stuff. So you can't even obtain that naturally. And on top of that, most people that are in that will get hella shredded and feel like absolute shit, and then have like just a few days where they take a bunch of fucking photos while they're shredded, and then they'll just space out those photos as like the year goes by. So there is, on top of them looking like they just maintain this shredded physique forever, it's like, no, that's not the case at all. They literally do it, suffer, and then they're like, okay, finally, I took all the photos I needed. Now I'll just, space them out.
That is like, how do you fucking trust somebody's fucking advice? You know, it's like, one, you're on fucking whatever X amount of drugs, and then, the pictures are photoshopped, or the pictures have like, different lighting that's not natural. And then, I mean, it's really no fault of the content creator. They understand their customer base, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there still has to be like a level of empathy. It's like, what am I doing that's like actually fucking meaningful here? Especially when it comes like trying to inspire people's health, and it's like, oh, you can get this physique too. You just have to, take tren or cycle steroids on for like 6 months, and you can have this too. But
Dude,
yeah.
there was a video, pretty sure it was a Jeff Nippard video, but he basically posted what the difference is between like being on gear and not, and just staying natural.
Yeah.
And it was something like, I'm pretty sure it was like over 3 months they did like a, whatever the study he looked at was, like a guy that took steroids and didn't even work out
Yeah.
gained like 3 times more muscle than the dude that worked out every single day for 3 months naturally. Like the dude like literally didn't even work out at all and gained like 3 times as much muscle.
That's depressing though. Like this guy actually, like, I mean, that's, there's some serious health consequences for that. And so if you're gonna do it, like, at least put in the work, right? It's just like, you hear about people like, I'm gonna go get on like tren, and then I'm gonna like what, play video games? Are you fucking kidding me? Like
Dude, the thing is like, if you choose that lifestyle, you're gonna get addicted to it. You're gonna get addicted to the size that you can put on. Like, dude, like I'm looking fucking great. And then you got to think of the health consequences that are inevitable. Now, obviously some people have it way worse than others, but like there is health consequences to staying on this stuff long term, even just short term. But when are you going to decide to get off of it? Because as soon as you get off of it, like you're going to shrink. You're going to fucking shrink and feel like shit. So like, I don't know. It's a worrisome pursuit in my eyes, is like just getting involved in that, because you're going to get hooked on it. You're going to get hooked on that feeling of just putting on crazy size and looking insanely jacked. And then you're going to just continually be on it, and your health's going to deteriorate.
I'm happy to see so many people are a lot more like open about it now though, because I mean, at least when like if like we even like Strafen said he's on gear, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, even
Let's not out him without him. He doesn't.
Yeah, but it's just like, I'm not here to like make it sound bad, because when I said it earlier, it's like, I want to make it clear that the reason I took issue with that is this dude is, you've only, I think, more plates, more dates said it pretty good. He's like, you've only got so many shots in the tank, and if you're gonna do that, how the fuck are you gonna spend it playing video games, right? It's like, because a lot of people are acknowledge the risks, they educate themselves on what's going to happen, and then they do it anyway, and they're fully prepared for the consequences, and that is fine, right? Because I think that's all life really is. You're trading things. You see what you want, and as long as you educate yourself on it and are prepared for what's going to happen for it, you're prepared for the trade-off. I get this, I lose this, that's fine. You'll come out of it without any regrets, and that'll be the best decision for you. But for people to just fucking put themselves on something that might lead to irreversible consequences, and then they're just gonna fucking. It's damn. That's just a fucking terrible thing.
Or like honestly, just fucking eat more. That's like that is, eat more and eat right.
Yeah, and it's just consistency at the end of the day. Like, you will not put on size in a month. It's just like you just won't. Like it's a long-term pursuit, and you'll get better and better. And you're gonna have days that just suck. You're gonna have probably weeks that you're not motivated and stuff. But it's just the long-term outlook, which is why I think like RuneScape players do really good as soon as they start putting that mindset into more like IRL pursuits.
Yeah, because why not? If it's gonna be, it's worth the wait. So
yeah. Okay. Bale Say asks, who are your favorite OSRS streamers? In parentheses, he says, can't say foe.
yeah. Well, I'm gonna pass it off to Hemmiez. Unless you want to.
So streamers is pretty interesting. I think, and yeah, if we're talking about people, well, I think a lot of the people in the OSR section are that's too hard because just I like a lot of the creators. But if we're talking about who do I think is the most entertaining among the people that I watch, like there's some people who are super entertaining and can make anything interesting. And for people like that, I'd look at like fucking Tasty. I'd look at like Prison Joe because like I'm not a pet grinder, but I can watch Tasty kill Krill for like 2 hours, and it's like, and I'm like, wow, like this guy just made me watch fucking Sammy. Like I haven't done this shit in years, right? But if we're talking like people that I think have the innate talent, almost like how you described Fat Clouds, like this is his calling, like they're fucking good at it. Ditterbitter was really was really fucking entertaining when he was streaming. And this is another case with like Fat Clouds where I thought he was fucking built for it. He might have been good at it, but he didn't want to do it. Because at the end he's decided, look, like I like content creation, but YouTube's the better side of it for me. I'm not gonna do streaming anymore. Look, if you guys got subs, like you can give them to me, but I'd much prefer you give them to my friends, because I'm not gonna be doing this anymore because I've decided it's not for me. Even though he was so good at it, he was so entertaining. I've never seen any streamer go from 0 to 2,000 subs so quickly. He came back for like I don't know 3-4 months and was instantly at like 2K subs because he was magnetic with how, and like you could talk about like the sub baiting stuff, but it's like it wasn't like predatory. It was like obviously you'd go into it, and if you gave subs, it was like what you're getting into. It was for the vibes, it was for the energy, it was for the fun. So in terms of that, I'd say Ditterbitter had a fucking talent for that because like, and he had well, maybe he didn't have the tenacity because evidently he decided it wasn't for him. But my God, I think he had some fucking talent for that shit. But since he stopped, I'd say the next one, the more modern one of that is Hunter Owner. I've been watching his stream a lot lately. Hunter Owner is he's good at keeping that energy up, and he's good at having that. I'm not going to call it a persona because I think that's what he's actually like, but he can maintain that natural energy for long periods of time. He knows how to make everybody feel included. He knows how to make himself the butt of the joke and when not to do it, and just to keep the banter up. And I think he's got that same level of magnetism when it comes to streaming. So for now, I'd say the answer is Hunter Owner in terms of like raw talent for streaming right now. But I've also been trying to dial off my Twitch, so because Twitch just takes so much goddamn time. So there might be people I'm missing, but my top two answers are Ditter and Hunter. So.
Nice. What about you, Jimmy?
Hunter Owner was on my list as I was thinking. So shout out to him. I do I do think that if he decides to keep pursuing it full time, he's gonna keep finding that success because of just being genuinely entertaining. But I also think like when it comes to like my favorite streamers, there's streamers that I watch for like straight up content because they're like actually skillful, and there are also others that I just they're great streamers, right? Kind of like how you mentioned Tasty. I mean, him, like Prison Joe, and like even QNeeks, he doesn't stream anymore. Like, it was fun seeing them learn content or do content because like they knew their audience well and they knew how to be entertaining playfully, right? And so like you never felt like, oh, this guy's just fucking mauling at something, but he's like laughing at his own mistakes, you know. So he didn't take themselves too seriously. But those guys are incredibly entertaining in that aspect. But I think skill wise, I mean, I think Dex, like iDex and Stooge are probably the people that I watch the most. Um, I mean, I don't think I really need to say anything. They're both amazing players, and I think if both of them keep up the tempo or the energy, I think they'll also be at the top of you know, the I guess the viewer count or the success, uh, however that's measured in the old school category.
Nice. I got to give a shout out. I know we already talked about him, but Rostaman or Scotty. I love waking up in the morning and watching some good Inferno runs that are like, that's just content for me. Making breakfast and just having that running.
Away. Oh god.
Yeah. He's, dude. Have you seen his max melee runs? They're always like super fast initially, but then they slow down, of course, with the lack of range stuff. Even though I think
some crazy shit, like the layout for his switch when I popped in the other day, like he put his claws in the middle of the switch and he had the switch around his claws. I was like, what the fuck is this? And then he read my comment and he just started laughing. He's like, yeah, heavies. I was like, bro, you're gonna fucking explain? You're not gonna fucking explain what's going on here? It's definitely good content. Yeah.
That's funny. All right, here's a couple questions for you, Hemmiez, from Stooge. How does Hemmiez feel like being literally the oldest man to ever play this game?
Okay.
And also one other question: why does Hemmiez play on such a disgusting client?
What the fuck? Oh,
any response to that?
Well, I mean, I'm one of the fucking youngest players. Well, that's the crazy part. I can't even say I'm one of the youngest players on this game anymore, because when I started, you know, I got into this because when I was 5, my brother, who's 7 years older than me, and all his friends were playing it, and then they showed me, and you know, me being the fucking little fucking prick 5-year-old that I was like, I want to play too. I want to play. And then I played it, or I'd watch him and I'd be like, this shit is boring, bro. And then he's like, fine, go play it. I played it and I was like, this is so fun. And I was like walking around Varrock. I literally remember that shit. But so I'm supposed to be super young, but fucking everybody in the Inferno community calls me a fucking, I'm old, I'm crippled, I'm a dinosaur. Yeah, funny guys.
Wait, how old are you? How old are you both,
23.
actually? You're 23?
Yeah.
What about you, Joe?
I'm nearing 30, man. I'm getting there closer every fucking day.
I'm 20. I'm 28, so 23 is fucking young, man. Born in
23.
Are you born in 2000?
Yeah, shut the fuck up, okay? Fuck
born
this
in
guy.
2000.
Holy.
Oh my god.
Oh my
fucking little baby.
It is what it is. But
you know, back in my day when I was 23.
Dude, I started streaming when I was 23. Like, that's crazy. And I thought I was so old then. I was like, I'm starting this late, you know. So,
when did Foe start? Like
40, I think. I'm kidding. No, he must have. Yeah, he's what, 33, 34, 32, 33. I think he's like 33, right?
Something.
Because if he's 33, that means he probably started when he was 23. Because I'm pretty sure he started in 23.
I could believe that. Yeah,
that's
the old Rune Test pictures, man. That's pretty crazy. But yeah, when it comes to the old thing, it's just nuts. You know what? It feels pretty shit. It feels pretty shit because I look around and I see other people fucking younger than me playing the game. I'm like, how the fuck did you get into this game, man? Like, a miracle that, well, it's more like a tragedy that I got fucking roped in this game, but like that's fucking difficult, you know. I don't know how they did that. So that's bad to the first question. Second question, my client is not that ugly, and I'm gonna stand by that till the day I fucking die. These fucking the client's not that bad, bro. Like it's
Oh,
big.
you play on a fucking IMAX. What do you mean it's not bad?
It's dude. Oh my god, it's crazy too. Because so my client is it's just the default room light settings with some stuff added, but it was like 1560 by like 1100 or something in pixels, and I never thought there was a problem. But then I start streaming, and these guys start flaming me for it. I'm like, oh, what the hell? Like, is it? I didn't realize it's that big of a deal. But I think it's kind of fun because all the people that like, they'll like come at me and be like, oh, well, like sometimes. So like, I used to do a little bit more PvP. I mean, I didn't stream at the time, but like started with like RuneScape private servers. Because I tried to do a little bit in pre-OC, like right before EOC came out. And I played private servers. And we just kind of fucked around a little bit up until like 2018. And then when I started streaming, people were like, oh, your client's so big, you play on resizable. Like you've got to be like shit at PvP. And then I'd just start smoking people. And then they're like, what the fuck? Top 1 IMAX PKer, top 1 resizable PK.
Top 1 IMAX.
I was like, what the hell? Why is everybody like, fucking cancer will be like, how's this guy so good at the Inferno with his fucking dog shit client? And he'll like post a picture of, he'll be like, this is Hemmiez. He'll post a picture and it's like one guy alone in a movie theater staring at it. He's just poorly MS painted my fucking client onto the theater. It's like, it's not that bad, bro. Everybody's flaming it. I swear it is not that bad.
Well, you know it's bad when you have okay, it's not really, you're right, it's not bad, especially if it works for you, but one of the funniest things that I've noticed from Hemmiez' stream is when you find out he's playing on an IMAX and you see him like do stuff across his screen, you'll see his head move, and it's the funniest thing because it's just like he's looking back and forth. So like, yeah, this dude just definitely plays on an IMAX.
Oh my god. I mean, I play on a massive client as well. It looks small because it looks like a fixed client, but it's actually 4 times as large. It's like my entire monitor.
Do you know the dimensions?
Yeah, it's 1530 by 1006.
Okay, we're in the same ballpark, brother. You know, birds. Let's fucking go.
Yeah. No. I mean, but I don't know. I don't think it's that big. I mean, my monitors are only like 24 inch, and they're pretty far away, so I'm not turning my head at all.
Oh well. All right. Well,
You should ask about Hemmiez' door too, because
there's no head turning, just a little bit of eyeball movement. But
no door.
But no, like straight up, my eyes are shit. So around the time I think I was like 24-ish, I was like, okay, I literally cannot look at this screen for too long because I'm squinting. Like the normal fucking the normal fixed client is so tiny now, and yeah, I'm insanely nearsighted. I have a really strong prescription, so.
Damn, you wear contacts?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Because I was like, I don't think I've seen you with glasses, but
no, I prefer. I look strange with glasses. I think I don't like the look of them.
That's fair. But on the fucking fixed note,
yeah,
there was one time, Cancer made me. He put in some channel points, and he was like, okay, dude, like, I'm on triple Jads. I think it was like when combat achievements just came out. He's like, you gotta do it on fixed. And it's so funny. You might have the same thing where if you go from resizable into fixed, it fucking, the black ball, for some reason, like all the extra space just cuts into like black. It just turns into the void. So like occasionally people will tell me to go play on fixed, and I'm like, okay, fine, you asked for it, and then 60% of the screen just turns into nothing.
Yep.
And then the little middle corner, the direct 3x3 in the center
Mm-hmm.
is like me fucking like binoculars, and everybody just starts spamming it. I was like, all right, dude. I think I tanked the Jad hit because of that too. That fucking cancer kid or cancer guy. His name is Cancer. I'm not calling him a cancer kid.
It's messed up, man.
Yeah, no. His name is Cancer. His name is Cancer. So.
No, but yeah, I haven't played on resizable. I mean, I have literally played on my stretched fixed client. That's exactly 4 times the size of a normal fixed client for literally like 4 years straight. So I literally don't ever switch it to resizable ever for any content, and I'm fully used to it now.
That's fine, dude. Big monitor, big client. That's how I see it, bro.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's the same thing with the DPI. I don't know how your DPI situation is, but like I play on like high DPI. So
what do you play on?
1550.
Jesus.
And people are like, "What the hell, dude?" But it's like, bro, I don't want to just fucking play RuneScape. I don't want to like swing my arm around to like fucking go watch a video or send an email or something. So
see, I play on 800 with my massive screen, so it's basically the equivalent of 400 DPI if it was a normal fixed client.
Ooh.
And I'm completely used to it at this point. Like I couldn't change it if I wanted to.
Yeah, but because it's 800, nobody's gonna flame you for it.
Yeah,
I play fucking 1550. Suddenly, everybody's fucking.
I'm pretty sure
on hit lists and shit.
It's coupled with everything else, though, Hemmiez. You know.
I'm pretty sure Scotty plays with like 1500 too. That's what he said the other day.
Yeah. Me, him, and Simply used to play 1550, but then Simply changed, and it's cool because like I mean, they both have like fucking really nice clicks.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Oh yeah, dude. Talk about underrated fucking Infernoer. Holy shit. That dude is like he's fucking nasty. Just in general, and he's so good at top and pretty much everything else in this game.
Okay, here's like just a theoretical question for you guys. How hard would it be for you guys and imagining like the top end of Inferno speedrunners to do an Inferno run on pure vanilla? I'm not talking about their new like Steam client or anything. I'm talking like vanilla from like years back. Like logging in to that dog shit and running an Inferno. No tile markers, no anything else, no tile indicators, no NPC indicators.
F keys?
No. Yeah. There are F keys, but there's no anti-drag. There's no anti-drag. They can't.
I mean,
yeah.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I'd fucking struggle without the anti-drag. Okay, I'm definitely an old dude. You know, I fucking play in 400 DPI. So I definitely struggle with no anti-drag, but
Jesus,
I still think
so
like
rough.
I still think like I know most of those tiles by heart, so it's like I don't think I really need the tiles. But yeah, I mean, just like the quality of life, like the boost information, like knowing when you knowing when you get ticked down. Yeah, I mean, I think it'd be rough, but
no death animations, none of that, by the way. That would be so irritating, dude.
Might just have to start playing League. I don't know.
Do you have to like go to your stats tab to see your HP?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Wait, no, you don't, because on the vanilla client they actually added those orbs, and there is normal prayer orb up there as well on the vanilla. Yeah, that's not really my.
I feel like I could sub 50 still. Like I don't think it's that big of a deal to sub 50 off that.
Yeah,
but I think the experience would be fucking traumatizing,
dude. I ran a sepulcher without any plugins or anything, and I'm talking like the default zoom. Have you ever like clicked on like the camera settings on RuneScape and clicked the default, and you're just zoomed in so fucking far? So I kept it at that, and I got rid of all of the extended whatever it is, draw distance, and you can't even fucking see the arrows coming at you during those hallways. That was the roughest thing I've ever had to do. It is such a headache. Like, oh my god, man, playing on vanilla is just disgusting. Everything looks like a carpet too for some reason. Like all the textures look really strange.
Oh yeah, you'd be in freckle mode in Inferno. That sucks.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's no low detail. Yeah,
Mm,
that'd be awful. Here, I gotta pee again.
Yep.
Be our bait.
Fucking cancer, dude. Fucking with you with that fixed mode shit.
Crazy kid, bruh. He made me do it in Nilo too. I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me, dude? Like this, like I'm not gonna die here, but it's just gonna be AIDS. It's
It's just gonna
whatever.
suck, yeah.
I'm gonna take a
Dude,
peep at this."
watching Rasta do Zug fucking scares me.
It's
I'm watching like
fucking
his rec video, and it's
bro.
like bro's just fucking sending the safe spots.
Seabet has fucking came at him earlier because Rasta said like I don't know what he said. He like came in, flamed his splits. And he's like, "Well, you can't fucking live a Zuck, dude, or like you can't go through a Zuck without taking a Zuck ball." I was like, "Yo, some kid, bro." I was
You
like,
know,
"Oh
like
shit."
it's weird because like Russell like has those nice clicks, but then like some of his solos are like, bro,
Yeah, yeah.
even like a sub
He's
55er
flamed him
would
off a
know what to
little,
do
but
here. But yeah, fuck.
he's because that's the thing. Like, there's a lot of brute force. I don't know. Like he'll just do some stuff that isn't optimal, and then
Yeah.
he'll make up for it because his clicks are so consistent.
Yeah.
And he could just do that for the whole run. Because like even if I have a better solve, it's like well sometimes like across 69 fucking waves, I'm not gonna do it perfectly every time. I'm gonna misclick and shit, and I can't do a fucking 5-way claw like that quick. So
Yeah.
he's just gonna make up for it. And
Bro, I'm so ass I can't even do a fucking well, I think I could do a 3-way claw, but even like my 4-way claw is so shit. And people are like, oh, bring in the Toro plate. I'm like, bro, you just don't fucking understand how shit I am. Like, you know, like you just don't
they
get
also
it.
don't understand like the way I see it, the 5-way is not worth if you're not gonna be able to react to it. Because then
Yeah.
what are you gonna do? Start scything on fucking 60? Like unless you're
Yeah.
pulling a Rasa and taking a fucking divine and repotting every time you fall to like 116, that's just not gonna work, right? So
Yep.
it's just I don't know, but I'd say the thing I'm a little happy about though is like because definitely like 4+ months ago, his solves were like really bad, and then he'd
Yeah.
just make up for it with like fucking running a lot and like fucking better clicks and like clawing and shit. But
Yeah.
now even Blazer noticed too. Like he fucking pinged me one day. He's like, bro, like his solves are getting like a lot better now. I was like, yeah, like actually sometimes I
He's
can't even
good,
notice I'm
man.
doing some shit
Like
wrong anymore.
he's really good at like learning
Yeah.
and like picking it up and like applying it, which seems kind of like moot, but it's like you could tell me how to do something in top, but I may not
Not
apply
always
it
gonna
right
do
away,
it.
right? So
Easier
it's
said than
just
done. Yeah.
yeah.
I think I'm just happy that like because I think a lot of people were pissed because before it felt undeserved because obviously if your solves are kind of shit
Yeah.
but like you
Yeah.
just fucking run more and you do people are going to be angry about that. And then but now his solves are better, so it's like people aren't as I mean people are
Yeah.
still going to be angry at him because he's some stuff, but
He's fucking
fucking
pasta man, you know.
yeah.
So
At
yeah.
least if it's more deserved and people aren't as angry, it's like there's nothing to be.
Yeah.
I'm happy about that.
Yep.
People not as mad. Fuck it, that's good.
All
That's
right.
good.
Here's a topic from Ab. She says, I have a question for Hemmies from me and Dex. Have you seen any moose lately? Also, what is a Hemmies Karask? Thanks.
Oh my god, these fucking idiots.
What,
So
what does she
I
mean?
told Dex and Abby. Well, they know I'm Canadian, and they think I just have moose living in my backyard. They think I run into moose when I, go to the grocery store. They think I fucking eat moose. They think I see beavers. Like this, I don't know what Canadians these guys know, but they're fucking. There's I don't know, and the Hemmies Kurask is it's a fucking emote that they made because like They took a picture of me when people were making me do some channel point bullshit rewards, and it puts me in some precarious situations sometimes. And then they took a picture of it, and then they shaded it green, and they're like, "Doesn't he look like a Kurask?" And I was like, "No, I don't." But then they made a little 7TV emote. They started putting it in Discord. They started putting it in all our friends' fucking Twitch channels. So you know how you know how sometimes you'll get like some weird like super small streamer who like doesn't know how to self promote or do it naturally at all, and they'll just come into your stream and they'll just start spamming all their emotes like completely out of the blue. Like I don't mind if you use your own emotes, and I don't even mind if you spam them, but like they got to be like organic, you know, because I need to know you're here for more than just self promotion. You know, if you enjoy it and you spam your own emotes and promote a little bit, sure, that's fine, right? But if you come in and the first chat message is like my emote spammed across like 5 lines, it's like, wow, that's so cool. And then he puts like more of it. It's like, okay, bro, like you got to do it more organically, right? So that people see that as cringe, and these fucking guys put my emote into so many people's streams, and sometimes I get worried because it's like, are people? So many people spam it when they see me chat, and they think like, do people think like I'm the one I didn't fucking put this emote there, dude. Like they're just spamming it, and every time I'll like pop in, so people put that fucking Kurask emote, and I'm like, oh my god, these crazy kids, bruh. Or fucking Hemmiez crack. Dex made that, and it's just me. Probably like wiped in Inferno or something. I was not happy, and it's me looking like a crackhead, and he just puts that in people's streams, and then people like the
Thought it was a
second I
picture of
pop,
like you snorting a line or something. Okay.
yeah, I just begin. I'll talk, and then someone will just ping me, Hemmy's crack. I'm like, okay, really, bro? Who put that there? Who put that there? You know?
That's funny.
Oh, but on that note, we were talking about people who are fucking younger than me. IDEX is younger than me. It's like, how?
Oh, really?
What the hell? What's wrong with these people, bro? These guys are, oh man, everybody's so
I think
young now.
who else? I think
Ditter Bitter's younger than me.
yeah, Ditter Bitter's a baby.
Yeah, younger than the
Also-
game. that was funny.
Trying to think. There's a few other streamers that are really, really young. I'm like, dude, you weren't even born when this.
Shade
Like,
OSRS.
you were literally born after this game came out. Like, what the
Bro.
fuck?
Bro.
Like, being born after RuneScape, like,
Yeah,
come on.
it's crazy. Yeah, it's pretty good that I'm not in that club. That's
Yeah,
pretty good.
barely. Okay, Y Ace has a question for you, Blowpipe. Where do you see the hardcore in the next 6 months? Megascale, Coxes, raids, items? What are you working toward?
Well, hopefully I'm not dead to these shitty ass servers. But
You can blame Shooting Stars. I'm mining one right now.
God damn it, Sae Bae single-handedly fucking my YouTube series up. Now I'm trying to think. I mean, I'd like to kind of finish out like content as I go and try to do some of the CA tasks because I think they're fun and challenging at like lower levels, you know. So I think that'd be kind of fun to do. But I mean, my hardcore still got a lot to finish. I mean, I've got CG to finish. I still need 3 crystal armor seeds. Got basically God Wars with all of Bandos and Zami to do, and I think once I get those items like full Bandos and a Hasta, I'd like to pivot towards ToA and kind of learn ToA. I had a terrible experience doing some of the ToA CAs, so I've kind of held off on that for a while. But I like to get a Fang and like the the thread to get the 4 rune pouch, and kind of just send the rest of the game. I mean, I want to keep doing some tabs and just play it as is and update as I feel like updating it on YouTube. Um, I just find like that pace is so much more comfortable for me than like streaming on Twitch where I've got to be like super active and engaged. And props to the streamers that do stream like it's a full-time job because I think fatigue is a real thing, right? Like even in my full-time job, like I'm not speaking for the whole time. So it can get pretty tiring and exhausting. But I think YouTube's just a better pace for me. But I hope to keep pumping out like some of the CAs and just having fun and not dying, hopefully.
Nice. I wish you luck. Okay, Little Boat asks, if you could make 3 Grandmaster combat tasks, what would they be? And I'm going to add something before you answer. Will the Awakened Desert Treasure 2 variants be a Grandmaster task, do you think? Getting a completion from each of them?
Ooh. I think
oh man, go ahead.
I think they said they wouldn't do it. I don't know
did?
if they said the same thing about the Fang kit, but I'm gonna definitely, the more time passes, the less sure I am that they're not gonna put it. But at the start, I definitely was like, oh yeah, they're probably not gonna make it a CA, and I still don't think they're going to, but it's probably like a 60-40.
I think they're definitely adding it to the CAs.
Yeah, they might. Or they'll or to not backtrack on what they said. Maybe they'll do get 1 KC in. Well, I guess if they did 1
The
KC
thing is it's
get
not
1
even
KC in each.
Yeah, just do it
that.
once. That's not a big deal at this point in time to just say get a completion on each of these Awakened versions. Now, if it was speed run the hell out of it or do some crazy shit with a fucking black salamander, then yeah. But no, I think just getting a completion from them is totally fine.
Get rid of those tasks, please. The black salamander shit. Oh my gosh.
Oh my
But
gosh.
honestly, I think
they're running out of ideas and they just chuck a black
I think
salamander in
it's
there.
easier than the Inferno to do.
Oh yeah. Dude, yeah. I mean, Vardorvis, you just do a little bit of Vardorvis and you just give it a few attempts and you'll get it.
It's certainly more punishing, but if you want to talk amount of time invested, I'm gonna chalk up. Inferno is harder, right? And we have Inferno tasks, right? And not get an Inferno. We have fucking do it with no mage spells. Do it without a pillar fall and do all these different Inferno things. So I'm I think the only reason they wouldn't is because they just don't want to say we're not going to do this and then immediately backtrack on it.
Yeah.
So, in terms of 3 tasks, ooh man, I don't even want to. I don't think I don't want to touch anything for the Desert Treasure 2 ones yet because I don't know what kind of approach they're gonna take. But actually, you know what? Jimmy can probably give his answer first, but because I need some time to think about that. But I don't. I can guarantee you they're not going to be a perfection task, and they're not going to be a get 50 KC in 1 inventory task. So.
Yeah, I mean, okay, full disclosure. I tried Awakened Vardorvis, and it's the only Awakened one that I've tried so far. And I think I've done 20, 30 attempts, and I haven't gotten it yet. But
oh shit!
I still think it's good because, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't even kill. I killed 1 normal one.
Oh, okay, yeah,
before I switched. And I ain't gonna lie, when I got dropped 3 times without getting more than 4 or 5 hits off, and I was like, I think I'm actually dog shit at this game. I think something just switched.
Dude, wait, you did one.
I just have a.
Yeah, you did 1 normal kill and then you went straight to 30 Awakened. What the fuck, man? Just give it.
Well, I was like, all right, surely it can't be that fucking hard. It's a quest boss. And then I kept getting dropped. And I'm not kidding. I died 20 times in one night. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to chill. But I still think it's excellent content that's difficult. And I'm only speaking from a very small personal sample size. But seeing good players that I know struggle with it is encouraging in a way because it shows maybe not how RNG it is, but maybe how mechanically skillful you have to be in order to get the completion. Now, I think it's a separate question, how do you make that so people keep going back to it and making it, less, I guess, less punishing from GP wise, right? So why should it cost me 2-3 mil and I don't even know the current price of an Awakened orb, but why should it take several mil to speed run some new content, right? Because I think that would be awesome. I mean, could you imagine like how fun it would be to see people go at it with Awakened? What is it, Leviathan, right? That's the one with like the insane last
Yep.
like the last phase or like the enraged phase. I mean, that boss looks sick, and I haven't even made my way there because I honestly just can't be asked. But you know, when those CAs come out, I think I will probably go for all of them. But as far as like 3 additional Grandmaster tasks, I mean, I don't know. I kind of I have to say like I think a lot of I wouldn't add necessarily any Grandmaster tasks. I think I would fucking remove like half of them though, because I think they're just like Black Salamander, bro. I don't even know how to catch a Black Salamander until I fucking hopped on an Iron Man and was like, oh, where do I catch these at? 'Cause I need it. So I think some of those, especially like the KC in like an inventory, I mean, it's kind of like an endurance test, and I feel like many people just don't have the patience to do them. But I mean, with Grandmaster's complete, I mean, I can't really think of like 3 tasks that would be fun. I mean, sure, it'd be cool to like see an Inferno run, like where you're doing it on thralls and just, but like, what's the point? Because it seems kind of moot to kind of do stuff like that. Like doing MSB RCB Inferno, like that's fucking cancer. Like I would never wish that on anyone. So.
Yeah. I have to interrupt real quick. There's a guy here mining stars that said, "Yo, Satyr." His name is Obliv Satyr.
Don't look at me. I'm not
There's a fucking guy named Obliv Satyr. People are genuinely gonna think that's my main or something. I have no idea.
Is it an iron?
No, it's just a main account named OBLV space Satyr. Just my fucking name. I have no idea what's happening.
He's like, I knew I'd fucking find you here.
And the thing is, I highly doubt the dude's in Oblivion because I just looked him up. He's got like no boss kills whatsoever. He's got like 5 Tobs and 6 Bandos and 5 Chambers. Like, what the hell is going on?
5 Chambers. Holy. Is that even on the high scores? I don't.
No, it is. It is somehow. Yeah.
Is it really 5?
It's 5. He's done 3 Zucks, 5 Chambers.
The bar is low. But okay, I have a question. So the Grandmaster tasks for DKs, like like the one where you have to triple flick and stuff, are those were those Grandmaster levels or were those like
No, those are like elite.
I think those were elite, right?
Yeah.
Like I feel like that's such a good concept to introduce, is like flicking between monsters well and like perfectly. I feel like a lot of people didn't focus on that for those tasks that required like no damage, right? So I'm like, for example, like the Bandos one, right, where you don't take any damage. I think that's like a prime example of something where it's like, oh, it'd be kind of cool to like learn how to off tick stuff. But I don't think there's anything in the game right now which would like merit more tasks. I don't know. What do you think, Hemmiez?
I want to think of something for ToA based, just because I feel like the tasks for ToA were just, I don't know, a lot of them were just made intentionally more annoying than than possible. So I guess I probably would have tried to replace some, but I don't know, man. I think I couldn't really. I just
It's
got caught
fine
up
if you
on
don't
ToA.
if you don't have any.
Yeah, because I think ToA was just a whole lot of lost potential. Like they could have done so much more, and I would have loved to see something like one of them kind of stands out in my head with Z-Bach. Like I thought it could have been cool if like fucking, I don't know, they handle a fucking task where it's like you got to deal with like 2 tornadoes or sorry, like 2 waves at the same time or some shit, right? Or like maybe you got to do wardens without like I don't know, without running through the orbs or whatever. I don't know. It's too hard to come up with on the spot. Yeah, that's for sure.
Okay, what about this? Here's a topic from Kuna. Do you want a combat achievement tier above Grandmaster? If so, what would the tasks and rewards look like?
Personally, I don't think. I mean, would I personally want one? Cool, it'd be giving me more things to do. Like I'm not opposed to that, but I don't necessarily think it needs to be done. Just because I would say, RuneScape tends to target a completionist sort of audience, right? Like people want all the pets, people want to collect stuff, people want everything sort of done generally more than other games, I would feel. And I think the GM CAs are mostly there to like get people integrated to PVMing. Like it's not. They knew full well that it's like, look, these times aren't supposed to like get you to like the top. We don't want to not force, because obviously it's not forcing people, but it's if they make something that people obviously aren't, because I'm assuming they're talking like a top level thing. If they make something top level and they integrate that in a system that is primarily designed to have things that most people can complete, right? Not top level. And then at the end, like right before they finish, they get this one giant brick wall that's like, hey, you got to go get these like world record times or like extremely high level things. They're not forced to do it, but I do think it's going to cause some discourse. And then, like Jagex fucking is shit with like their PR, so they're probably going to have to like, I don't think it'd look great on their end, and you're gonna get a shit ton of people complaining. It's just like, I can't fucking complete this, or whatever. For me, it would just give me something else to do on the game, and that's cool. But I don't think it's needed. Then again, if they were to do it, obviously, I'm not gonna complain. So
it would just be so unnecessary to do that. Every task, I can just imagine one of the tasks being, do a no pillar MSV Inferno with iron arrows. Fucking do it, pussy.
Yeah, it's like yeah, it'd be super. The top level.
Not even fun, just masochistic at that point. Suffer to suffer.
Dear Lola would be able to do that. That's my goat. That's my goat. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'd have to agree with you. It definitely seems like redundant as fuck to have that.
Yeah.
And players who do want to go for that, they always go for a blue diary, right? Like that's
do it
just
anyway.
a standard. So
yeah, and anybody
they're doing it anyways. So
anybody that's that crazy, I just think of like somebody like Unpredictable. Like he just does shit because he wants to, and he'll flex it. He doesn't even flex it; he just uploads it. But it's like, that's great. That's awesome.
Yeah,
to see people doing the crazy shit.
Whereas instead of like throwing it in the face of people who generally aren't trying to chase that, and then making them kind of feel like they're missing something, it might just cause some backlash. Man.
For sure. Okay. I'm gonna kind of wrap things up. So let me think. So we covered Chamber Scouting. We covered a bunch of Inferno. Covered DT2, ToA. Let me just ask you guys this question: what is your guys' personal favorite raid and why? And on top of that, I'll also just ask, what's your favorite piece of content in general, which I can just imagine is already Inferno, but I guess raid specifically, what is your favorite?
Ooh. I'm going with Top because, I just have two fond memories of it on release, because that release, honestly, like 6 months was just kind of crazy with. And that's super biased because that's not entirely based off of like mechanics or whatever, but it's more of like the general feeling and experience, and getting drops, and it's like, Justiciar 5-way split, and it's still 50 mil each, right? It's like we're just printing fucking money. So it was very fun to be a part of it, but I'm not here to say that it's like unanimously the best. Although it is very clearly like one of the best. It's fucking super nice. But I also just kind of liked Chambers because Chambers was also kind of like a giant slap in the face where, if anyone watches the vids from the release day of Chambers, everybody's like, what the fuck? Like, we've never seen anything like this. People run into Vasa, half the team gets one hit, and then fucking people are crossing tightrope without killing any of the majors or ragers. Like, what's gonna happen to me? They get fucking hit for like 600. It's like just a super fun environment. And I like Tob more for my personal experience with it, but Chambers I liked more for sort of bringing like this, holy shit, we can get content that is gonna like completely slap us in the face and we're gonna love it. So I think Chambers is more memorable for that.
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much have to agree with you. I think as an Iron, especially like trying to learn how to do everything solo, I think solo Chambers is top 5 content in the game to like learn, to master, and to get good at. And it's again one of those things that kind of translates, right? Like in the good old days when you were 4-0ing on P3, right? I mean, if you're doing it really well, right, with like maybe not takeoffs, but maybe with like your offensive prayers, like you felt like a demon, you know. So that's like one of the moments where I felt really good at the game. But yeah, I'd have to go with Tob. I mean, I don't really raid much or do pretty much anything other than Inferno on my main, but Tob has always been a very memorable raid, and it's always been fun. And like, it's the same room, it's still static, but like, you know, it's like the classic case of like, you know, I think back to when Prince Bug, you know, messed up his like freezing, right, and he was like, get my everything, and it was on like Terran's stream, and it's like, you know, Bug's good at top, and he's, you know, done so many KC, but like you're still making those funny mistakes, right? And like everybody can have a good time, but I don't know, Top just stands out in terms of like difficulty in completing it, and then difficulty in getting complete like consistent KC, and then building on that to try to like master the, you know, the subtle mechanics, so to speak.
Yeah. It's always a tough one. I think Top can be extremely addicting if you got a good team. Chambers is chill because you can just solo it, and ToA is it's fine, but no, my God.
It could be better.
It's fine. It's one of those things like if you have a good team running and you're just in that mindset of like, okay, let's just do this, then you'll have a good time as long as you're with the boys. But soloing ToA, oh my God, I just want to punch things. Irritating. And then you have this like just underlying mentality where like you kind of need to just push the invocation as far as you can without just absolutely tilting. So you can't even just enjoy a 300 or something and just chillax because you know you're just trolling like with purple rates. So you have to do this like fucking annoying version the whole time, and you're just pissed off. Like, hate that. I hate that you feel this obligation to just turn on dog shit.
That's
invocation.
That is super accurate. Yeah.
What's the fucking name of the invocation that hits you through prayer, like the chip damage one?
Oh my God, yeah, I know what you're talking about. It's just so stupid.
Oh my God,
so
dude, what
stupid.
is that? I'm actually.
No, that is.
I'll save that for a different day. But it's like, whoa, what is that?
It's
man?
such a stupid invocation. It's not adding anything meaningful except for just difficulty. Like, just here, be annoyed the whole time. And the other thing is like, what the hell is up the invocation where your spec can only go off if you're at 100%? Like, that is the most boring, stupid invocation you could have ever added. Like, it's just dumb. It makes it less fun. Like, oh my God, think of something better than that. Shit.
Like the one where what was the first one, the chip damage one? It's like, sorry, I'm praying right, dude. Like, I guess I'll just go fuck myself because
it's just dumb. Yeah, there could have been so many better ones. I had a discussion with Lake and Puggin the other week, and just like one of the best ones they could have added. And Lake brought up a great point, and I've thought about this, you know, I mean, as soon as ToA was released, I was thinking like, you know, the cum phase from Akka. How that shit is just going everywhere. Like, even at a 0 invocation, that shit's still going everywhere. It's the mess. Like, there's no way to, like, tone it back. And it was just, like, something so simple would have been have an invocation that, like, the cum balls are only going north, south, east, and west. And then there's that invocation to add the diagonals. So now it's really difficult. But like the default should have literally just been something where they're just going side to side.
Look,
Like,
all I'm gonna say about the cum phase is that Grandmaster task, the one where you have to fucking,
do it
like not
perfect.
get hit at all.
Yeah.
Let me just put this in perspective, okay? I had 2 great days at work, and I came home and spent fucking 5 hours each night trying to get that, and I just mauled it, and I didn't log in for like a good amount of days after. So fuck that task. But I agree. I mean, like the directional thing was, I mean, it was interesting getting used to it. And I don't like using like the true tile indicators because it just throws me for a loop.
Yeah.
But I'm like, oh, if I use it, like now I'm in this weird little impasse with my brain. So
Yeah. No, it's definitely something unique for sure. It's challenging. It's still doable. Like it's all skill technically at the end of the day, but it's just there's this thing that goes on in most people's heads. It's like I don't want to lose ticks. I just want to keep fucking hitting the things. And sitting around trying to be perfect is just annoying. Yeah. Okay. Let's wrap things up, guys. I appreciate you guys coming on. I'm going to ask you now for 3 shout outs. It can be anybody in the community, somebody you think deserves it. So I'll start with you, Jimmy. Who are your 3 shout outs?
oh man. I guess three shout outs to people that I think were like instrumental in this game and streaming. Probably have to be first one would be Mezd, who kind of pioneered like speedrunning for like I guess Trap House. The second person would be Chungus for reasons that are obvious, and the third person would probably be Simply.
Very nice. Hemmiez?
God, that's a hard one. I mean, I think I'm gonna throw one to one's got to go to Elliot for actually so Elliot 14 for making just really. I don't think he strives for the minimum. I don't think he strives for content. I think he strives to actually be proud of what he does, to make entertaining, as he calls it, movies. He's a movie maker, right? And I think that just that mentality by itself really shows how really shows the difference. You know, he's not here to just make content. He's here to actually do something, and I really respect that, and I can appreciate that real passion in the same sense. The other one, Hunter Owner, I think he's one of the because he's been on and off with streaming, but now he's really coming back to it. He's doing good work, really entertaining, and if you're on late EST, like definitely go watch him. Like he's super enjoyable to just kind of chill with. And I'd have to give the last one to probably the Scald. Yeah, the Scald. So he's an animator, editor, etc. Like Photoshop, Blender. He makes does phenomenal art for people who aren't creators might not know this, but there's a art Discord for a lot of the OSRS related sort of creators, and like artists can go and like can look for commissions there. And and, like people, it's just a good hub for people to fucking connect and see other people's art, try and cheer each other on, get better, and learn resources. So he is one of the main people in there, and he does some really fucking good work, and I think it's underrated. He's not underrated, but like he could definitely do with some more exposure, because he does some really nice things. And check him out on Twitter. Done some work for the old school community. If you are an artist or you're looking to become an artist and you're in the OSR scene, like you can probably, I think he could probably get you a link. Yeah, you could probably talk to him, or actually, yeah, you could probably, I don't know, maybe DM him on Twitter. No, I don't DM him on Twitter. I feel like I'm gonna get him like fucking mobbed, but I don't know.
He is a great guy.
Yeah, definitely look around if you're looking into like trying to become an artist or editor or Blender 3D modeler, and try and get yourself in that Discord, because that's a good place, and I think the scene can only do better with more people trying to be passionate about what they do. So yeah, those are my 3: Elliot, the Scald, Hunter Owner.
Cool. Thank you guys for coming on today. Down in the description, for those still listening, there will be links for Hemmiez and Jimmy's YouTube, and Twitch and Twitter. So go drop them a follow or a sub on any of those. Any final thoughts from you guys?
No, shit, I'm good. It's about
Cool.
about bedtime, but thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure. This was awesome.
Same thing here. I mean, my, I guess, final thought I'll fucking plug, if you wanted to see anything of content from me, like I know some of my streams I just kind of fuck around. But if there's one thing that if you listen to this and thought I was interesting, I think the only thing that you should watch from me is my high risk POB tournament highlights, because I have highlights for that on my YouTube channel, and it's literally some of the most proud events I've ran over my 2 years of streaming. Yeah, I just have them listed in my YouTube channel under my best works. So
Awesome.
you could check out, the trailer was fucking sick, and you could check out the highlight video. So yeah.
Yeah. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.
Yep.